on each of the tables, like coming out of the tables. Except for mine was the only one that the mic didn't have like that foam buffer around it. And I was like, oh, we got the circumcised
Says it's waiting
one.
for us.
Like half the people around.
It says published.
What the fuck, Tina? I'm like,
Yeah, and it says it's published.
doesn't have the tape.
I love how you say that right as we go live too.
Yeah, perfect, right? Perfect.
Nobody told me we were live.
We are live.
Well, I have changed the adult versus child rules on our channel just because I don't feel like dealing with the government.
Does that mean?
Does that mean that Zach can't be on the show anymore?
Does that mean we can say fuck?
It does.
Does that mean we can say shit?
It does.
Yeah.
Does that mean we can say
can.
I'm Stephen Lackey, the biggest piece of fucking shit in the world?
I don't know why you would say that. Like when you fell a minute ago, it's that monitor like that because.
No, the monitor hasn't changed.
Okay.
This is what changed.
Okay. That's the only thing.
No,
Okay.
I thought I'd quote that.
Hey,
This was South
you feel
Park.
good about that?
He's gonna grab the recording later and it's gonna be his ringtone.
Exactly.
Anytime you call, it's gonna be.
Fair enough.
I love that quote from South Park. It's like after in the movie, after he gets the V chip put in his brain. So you can't say I'm Eric Cartman, the biggest piece of F&S in the world.
All right. Are we ready?
Yep.
Yep.
What's today's date?
It is the 8th.
The 8th. Let's see if I can hold on to that.
January 2020.
Yeah.
All right. It's the Culturesmash cast for January the 8th, 2020.
Woo!
Episode 512. I'm Stephen Lackey, editor of Culturesmash.tv.
Nicholas Qualls, contributor to Culturesmash.tv.
Nathan Sabino, contributor to Culturesmash.tv.
Tina Highball, contributor to Culturesmash.tv.
Zach Martin, a kid with an opinion, and actually might be a contributor soon. To
Well, I mean, you wrote something. We should post it. Someone wrote 2,000 words on their top 10 list.
Mine's not 2,000 words, but I've got it typed out. I can send it to you.
Send it, yeah, because I'm going to post all of them. Anybody who wrote stuff, send it. We'll post them. I like to have those out there because when someone asks me a question, it's like link. There you go.
What's your top 10?
Link. Yeah, exactly. So this is our top 10 films of 2019 episode. I love this is one of my favorite episodes of the year.
Yeah, this is absolutely
Yeah.
the one because even if we don't all agree on something, you can write
Which we
down,
don't.
Yeah, you can write down some title you didn't see or anything, or it might be some film you didn't even hear of, which is always
Or
exciting.
you get to say a movie that Zach absolutely hated and watch his reaction. It's
If you can look,
Black Hat.
Hashtag Black Hat. That's the episode where
That's
Zach
the
and I
only
stormed out of the film.
Stormed
hashtag
outside.
use of Black Hat.
And
since
that's-
that movie came out. It's
and
going to be
that's-
Nathan doing that.
100%, and that's one of the few times I actually was on the same page as Zach and walked
If-
out at
if
the
you-
same time.
If you have,
It was
Jaws
unplanned.
dropped.
If you look at
We
the
looked at
hash-
each other and just stood up,
Walked out.
and laughed.
If you look at the hashtag usage of Black Hat, it's Nathan in 2020, Nathan in 2019, Nathan in 2018.
Hashtag Moscow or Kentucky Mules.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fine. Okay. That's
Yeah,
how it is.
leave them hanging. Yeah. All right. So we usually start this every year with sort of our criteria. We started a debate because we have some disagreement in what should be on a 2019 list and what shouldn't be on a 2019 list. For me, the criteria for that is: did it come out in a theater where I could go see it in 2019? That is pretty much the way it is for me because we are in, well, quote, the it city of the country, but we still don't get access to films for a long time.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, especially if it's smaller art house films, which are my favorite.
And especially if it's ones that are released like on the cusp of the year change.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it really interesting.
especially if they've been released in other countries.
Yeah, I think there's no debating on the other country thing. We're just talking about domestic release.
Yeah.
So
Yes, there is. I just saw a text chat about that all last night.
Yes, you did. A lengthy one last night because somebody at the table disagrees with that.
I disagree, but I don't make the rules, so.
I mean, we also have self-imposed rules. Like everything on my list, like last year, I had some titles that were on streaming on Netflix. I put back the rule that says no streaming. It has to be in a theater.
And I do that to
And
myself.
I'm not saying everyone has to have that rule.
Now,
That's
I want to clarify. I want to clarify your rule. Does your viewing experience have to be in theater, or does it? This movie
My
has to have
experience
had.
has to be in a theater.
Okay.
And see, for me, I'm close to that, but slightly different. it has to be something that came out in the theater in 2019. Because you can't always make it to the theater, especially when it's an art house film and it has such a short window of release.
Well, because
Well,
now
Brandon, you have your own theater.
yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
Yeah,
What theater are we talking
does
about?
the Lackey Theater count as a theater?
It does to me.
And but like one of its
I'm mainly talking like a movie that would have been on my top 10 would be like Marriage Story, but it did not get released in any
Theatrically
theater
at all.
and it's only on Netflix. It's like, well, you don't count.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like the next suggestion, the next example would be like The Irishman,
Which did come out in theater.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly. But
half
it
of
was
it,
in a
I'm
very
sorry.
very limited run in theaters, and then immediately to Netflix. Or
Yeah.
like the Two Popes got, I think, a run in like New York
LA,
and
New
LA,
York. Yeah.
Yeah.
and then all Netflix.
But I think the thing is, and this really kind of started with Roma, is for me, I'm not going to argue if you on your list if it was a new release movie in 2019 that new release to streaming. That's on you. If that's you want to do that. That's cool. I understand because it's still a new movie.
Yeah.
And there's some quality stuff coming out on streaming. Most of the time, not Netflix, but there's sun shines on a dog's ass once in a while.
we respect each other's opinions enough to go that doesn't qualify. To each
Exactly.
other. We're not going to call out something on somebody's list and go that doesn't fit.
No.
Exactly.
We will call it out if it's bad.
I would only
That we will do, and I look forward to doing.
I would call it out if it had a wide release in the United States last year.
Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Or the
Fair
year
enough.
prior.
Yeah.
If it got a wide release in the United States,
If it's a new-ish movie,
Then
if there's an argument to be made, we'll let it
I
go.
would even argue
just
it's like
like-
it got released in 2 theaters in 2018, then got a wide release in 2019. It's like
That's fine.
Or if it was
fine.
released like the last weekend of 20.
Because the other argument we had, and I don't know if it's on anybody's list, and don't want to know till we come to it, is 1917. Technically, we got to see it because it did get an advanced screening
Yep.
in December. But if somebody put that on their 2020 list, I wouldn't argue. And if you put it on your 2019 list, I'm not going to argue because you saw it in the theater. In
Just don't do
2019.
both.
You
Yeah.
just don't. That was Tina's note, and I agree with it. Don't
Yeah.
do both.
If you put
Can't
it
do
on the
both.
2019 list, it cannot go on the 2020 list.
Yeah.
that's fine.
Which is good. I got plenty of 2020 to go before I pick movies for that list.
No,
Yeah.
mine's already set.
I don't think
So-
some movies have come out yet.
One of my favorite things about this too is learning, and we do this every year. Is what is your criteria? What is it that makes it list worthy for you? Because I think all of our needs to get a movie on lists are different.
Absolutely.
So why don't you start, Nico?
Okay, so my list, it goes back and forth because I have what I like to think is an equal, or at least a kind of a good mix of technical achievement. Like this is technically a really excellent movie in terms of acting and storytelling, but also entertainment value. Now you have to have both to be on the list, but some are higher in the technical side than they are on the entertainment side.
Right.
But you have to have at least some proficiency in both areas to be on the list.
Okay, Nathan.
My criteria is I have to be entertained and be emotionally engaged with what I'm watching. Whether that be the experience I have with the people I'm watching it with, or just the storytelling of the actual movie. I don't look at technical things very much. I just look at how much I enjoy the movie, how much the actors call out to me, aka Black Hat.
Yeah,
That's where I differ because
Yeah.
I don't have emotions.
that's true. And everybody's known since this podcast started that I hate love.
That's
So,
true.
yeah.
Thanks. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, for me, kind of piggybacking on Nathan's, I'm not as well versed in the technical aspects as obviously Zach or Steven or even Nico. But I do know when something looks good, and ultimately how I determine my top 10 is how many times I would willingly sit down and watch this movie over and over again. So
That's a good note.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's a good note. Watchability should be a thing, I
Yeah.
think.
Right.
For me, technical side is about 60%.
60. Don't lie. 87%.
put that 6 around 90.
But story is important as well. Recently we had a film like Little Women that came out. It's like technically it is a well-made film. I didn't care for the story, so guess what? You get a failing grade in my book. But that's a personal thing for me. I wouldn't say it's a problem with the film.
This coming from the guy who just admitted to me that a lot of times he doesn't even notice the quality of acting.
Acting for me, yes. Acting for me, unless it is astronomically horrible, I'm not going to notice it. Unless it's amazing or awful. You know, like, I mean, if I'm watching in the middle of a movie and I go, oh my god, this acting is horrendous, you have astronomically failed for me. It's like, you are so bad that I noticed it. But for me, it also comes down to, again, rewatchability, subtext, and proficiency of the film. You know, if it's a sloppily made movie, well, I mean, sorry, you're not getting on my list. You know, you have to be technically proficient as well as narratively proficient.
Okay. So for me, like, the technical proficiency goes without saying. I don't lock into it as much as Zach does. I look at
It's
it.
important.
You look at it from a cinematographer, post-production guy. I look at it from directing side. So as a director, I look at the direction. If the direction is good, I can let some other things slide. You know, okay, that handheld camera, that was a handheld, yeah, okay. But you've got that shot, so that's all that matters to me. But I look for other things. I looked for, did you bring me something new? Did I see something in your film that I haven't seen before? That's the one biggest thing for me over everything else. If you brought me something, an experience or a story or a way of telling a story or a way of acting that I haven't seen before, that will get you on the list, high on the list, for sure. And then after that, was I emotionally engaged? You know, did I connect with the story, the characters, or something? And also, I'm surprised that Tina's really the only one that said it, because I feel this too. Is it rewatchable for me? And it doesn't have to be like rewatchable in a pleasant way. If I don't mind torturing myself to share this movie with somebody else, like if it's a hard movie to watch,
Like, if I buy the movie...
a hard movie to watch is just as important to me as an easy movie to watch. They're both equally rewatchable to me. If I'm excited to share it, it's going on the list. You know, that's my things right
like,
there.
If during the year, like, if I buy the movie, it's in my top 4, probably.
Not me. I buy a lot of movies.
And for me, it's, you know, and the only reasons I don't have my number 1 and number 2, my number 1 hasn't come out yet, and my number 2 I cannot find right now in the version I want.
Yeah, same.
It's-
and I know
it's literally
now.
out
I
of
know
print.
now. I know what your number 2 is.
Well,
Not necessarily mine, but what were you gonna say?
Every
literally out
movie
of
on my
print.
list, I was able to watch twice. There's every movie on my top 10 except for one, I've watched more than once.
Oh, well, that's good.
A lot of the movies on my list I've watched more than once.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but there's been a few of the movies on my list I've watched 3 times.
Actually, I don't think there's only one movie I think on my list I've watched multiple times.
I know which one that is.
Yeah, that's not going to be hard.
Exactly. All right, so now we have a gauge for what we're all looking for film-wise. So, Nico, why don't you start with number 10?
Number 10
Bring my
is
list up while you
I got my list.
have it on the phone.
Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems, directed by Josh and Benny Safdie. It is starring Adam Sandler in what is his probably best role ever.
It's 100% his best role
Yeah.
ever for me.
absolutely.
It's definitely one that's like when I balance the technical versus entertainment, it leans more on the technical side. But his performance is so good. Even the fact that he plays a nigh unlikable character, he has enough of his innate charisma and charm coming through.
On IMDb. While we talk.
He still has enough of his innate charisma coming through that I'm still interested in following him along.
Yeah.
Even though every bad thing that happens to him is entirely his fault and he deserves it. But that's also kind of fun.
See, I can't contribute to this because I actually did not watch Uncut Gems
That's a
because
shame.
of
The anxiety.
because I'm very prone to anxiety, and if I get too anxious, it just
Okay, so let me just say one other thing about our list. If you're listening to this, whenever you're listening to it, we're gonna spoil. We're gonna probably spoil some guys.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah,
Unless
spoils.
we come across something that somebody here really hasn't seen and it's important they see it, then we'll tiptoe around it a little bit. But most likely, we're gonna spoil everything.
Yeah. And I don't mind if you spoil
No,
Uncut Gems.
no, I don't think it is anxiety ridden, but I don't think it's quite the like nails on the chalkboard kind of like anxiety.
No, it's a
that-
building tension.
It is a very building tension, but it is something that if you require liking a character, like someone you could actually gravitate towards at least, it doesn't really have that.
I do struggle sometimes with, like, I know people love Curb Your Enthusiasm, the TV
Yeah.
show, but Larry David's character I hate so much I just can't look at it.
Yeah,
I just can't look at it because I hate him.
But if it was if Career Enthusiasm were a movie instead of a multi season TV show, then it'd be different.
Maybe so.
And you don't have to worry anymore about Adam Sandler's character after this movie.
So the thing about this movie, though,
Spoilers.
we said. So the thing that's so intense about this movie, though, is a lot of the technical side of it, because in the early stage of that movie, there's a sequence with a bunch of characters all in the same space together, and I remember watching it and I got mad because I'm like, they're yelling at each other and talking all over each other, and I'm like
3-4 people at the same time.
Yeah, I started thinking, wow, this is like a really low budget movie because the sound design is bad, and it's also obviously ad-libbed. It's well done, but when you have people yelling over each other like that, it's ad-libbed. It's okay, waiting for Guffman, here we go. But that was on purpose, and they do it more and more and more as it progresses. And that's the thing that's tense about it, is it just gets louder and more in your face, and it's harder to follow some people because of the things happening, and he's in the middle of it. He's into shit, and he's about to get screwed up.
Yeah, he has too many pots basically going, and it all just kind of falls apart at some point. And I love the score of this movie as well, because it's so counter to the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it's very Tangerine Dream.
It's very meditative, ASMR kind of peaceful.
It has some surrealism in it, though, even in the opening credits.
It does, yeah.
And randomly, for some reason, they decided he has to go to the doctor for a checkup on something. and okay, let's just dive inside his body.
Yeah.
Why not? Let's take a little mental break and just go swimming around his intestines.
But you have that music playing over that opening.
You go up the booty hole?
You do get to go
up the booty hole.
You can see
there you go, Nathan.
Lucy.
Yeah, it's true. But
you see right up the boosie.
But I feel like the score is kind of done on purpose to balance you out, because otherwise, if it is going to be a very tense, kind of hyperactive score, you're going to be out of your mind by the time the movie ends.
And maybe you're right. Maybe that is why they did that.
I mean, around about this, 66-75% of the way through the film, I was like, God, can we pause the movie? I just need to take a breather here for a
But
minute.
I'm glad we couldn't.
Yes.
That is a movie that
Yes.
requires you to be locked. Like, I think it's a theatrical experience, even though cinematically it's kind of base. Like, on its cinematic design, I didn't see anything that really grabbed me.
Yeah.
But it is a theatrical experience in that you can't get away from it.
You need to not be able to pause it.
Because I guarantee you, if you watch this at home, you're going to step away if you go to make a drink or you do something.
There are definitely a couple. There are definitely some instances where there are like movies I have seen that is like, I wish I did not have the ability to stop this movie, and this definitely would have been one of them. It would not have the same experience, but I also like watching it with an audience that it does not connect with.
My audience was with
No, mine was hit or miss, but there was, when the credits started rolling, there was like a couple that was like front left of me that stood up and was like, well, that was a waste of money.
Okay, some people...
Did your audience gasp?
Yes.
Oh,
Everybody gasped. I mean, you could not.
So what was really funny about that is I decided, like, this is a movie, like, in the argument we had about when movies come out and all that, I chased this movie. Chased it because I was wanting to see it so bad because I'd heard so much. And it came out in the middle of the afternoon and randomly decided, okay, let's go. It's out. I'm going to go at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Didn't think anything of it. Went right to the theater and almost didn't get in. My theater was sold out.
No, mine wasn't.
They gave us the disability seats.
Oh,
That's
nice.
the only reason we got to see it. They have those 4 that you can't have until the theater's full. They gave us those. And at that point, when the gasp happens and you're in there with 250 other people, it's like, you feel that energy.
That would be cool.
It's so good. Yeah,
It's like
I have a few other comments on this one.
Yes, it's like Frozen. It's just like
exactly
Frozen.
like Frozen.
Oh, if only somebody loved you.
All right, so that's my number 10, Nathan.
Nathan?
My number 10 is Hustlers. And it is
Oh my goodness.
Jennifer Lopez.
Jennifer Lopez looks
Constant
hot.
Woo, Lizzo, Cardi B,
that one.
Keke
Okay.
Yeah,
Palmer.
not Hustle.
Sorry.
No.
Hustlers.
Hustlers.
They both came out this year.
You're
I
right.
didn't understand the confusion.
Story driven from real life events of the 2008 financial crash, where strippers took advantage of Wall Street businessmen by drugging them and getting their credit card and
I keep
ringing
seeing
it up.
this on multiple lists this year.
It's on a lot of lists.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to go see it. I just never got around to it.
Same.
Great movie. And what I really liked about this movie is the actors took time to learn how to pole dance.
Oh yeah,
And Jennifer Lopez talks about,
Amazing.
Jennifer Lopez has a stealing scene where she's doing a full dance and it's all her, no body double, nothing. And you're just like, Holy cow!
So Nathan went to
She
see
was
this opening weekend, and if he had seen it, if you had seen it 2 weeks later, I would have gone. But opening weekend, all I had heard was how hot Jennifer Lopez looked in it, and I'm like, well, I can see that on YouTube or whatever. I don't have to go spend my money at the theater. But after the word came out that, okay, there's more to it. There's good acting in it. It's
good acting.
People
good
have said
story.
that it's her best work of her career, acting wise.
Since Selena, absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't hassle you. I don't hashtag black hat you for that one.
Not yet. We're only at 10.
Yeah.
We gotta work our way out.
We're working our way to the hashtag.
Oh,
black
I'm
hat.
sure I'll get up and wait.
Nathan, we don't have to worry about you getting up.
Yeah.
Tina, you're next.
My number 10, and honestly, you guys should have seen this one coming, was How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World.
Okay.
It's, for me, it's a very nice, neatly wrapped ending to that series. As you know, I absolutely love How to Train Your Dragon. It still had that emotional bit, but it wasn't as heavy as the second one. So I really enjoyed it. Plus, that ending was just adorable. With the kids and the baby dragons. Visually, it was beautiful. Of course, I know Zach's opinion, it's no Disney, it's no Pixar, but I still think
Of course.
DreamWorks puts all of its money into the How to Train Your Dragon.
I mean, it's not like it's Illumination.
It is
Elimination!
Illumination is garbage. to
Elimination! But yeah.
So I bought all three of these on 4K. I haven't watched them yet. I haven't seen any of those movies yet. I have them.
I thought the third one was fine.
Yeah, I love
I
the third
wouldn't,
one.
write home about it. But I thought it was fine.
Yeah, the second's the best.
Yeah.
Yes.
The second one tore at our hearts. It was the first time I had seen Nico cry to How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh
So-
shit! Now I got to make cocktails and drink and
I do
watch
not
it.
regret that.
Specifically, I love this is the first time I saw Nico cry to How to Train Your Dragon. Yes, he does.
Oh, you didn't cry to him the first
So wait,
one.
who's in that movie? How to Train Your Dragon?
Oh, there's a dragon.
Jay.
Thank God there's
Jay
a-
Burchell,
Ferreira,
Gerard Butler,
Gerard Butler.
Okay.
Craig
Ferguson.
Craig Ferguson. My ear just popped.
Mick
and now
McLovin.
I forget. Yeah, the guy who plays McLovin.
McLovin. That will forever be his name.
That's his name.
McLovin.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Cool. All right, Zach, you want to go
I
with your
mean,
number
it was
10?
a 2010 cast that, boy, by 2019 they had forgotten about that. So for my number 10, I have the director's cut of Midsommar. Specifically director's cut because I haven't seen the theatrical cut. So
I
don't know.
I'm assuming I've only seen the theatrical because I just saw it in the red box.
Yeah, so apparently the director's cut is only available via iTunes or Apple TV.
Apple TV.
That's
Apple
so
TV.
fascinating.
Yeah.
I
let me
want to
just-
see it.
Let me
now.
just go ahead and say while we're at this point that my number 10 is also Midsommar.
Yeah. That was the saddest clap I think
It-
I've
it
It
ever
was
seen.
really bad. Do it again. Do it again.
I will say it will be later on the list.
That's right.
So this is
So I'm reserving a few comments when that happens because
this is,
Uncut Gems may show up again.
this is a horror film that actually ruined my day. Like I felt like absolute garbage for the rest of the day, which is a huge plus for a horror film.
It
That's
is a
great.
huge plus. It is that thing that I talked about in my requirements. It's innovative in that way.
Yeah, I mean having all the horror sequences in broad, bright daylight.
Yeah.
That's impressive, especially when last year Predators came out and they had to reshoot the ending because you can't have something scary in daylight. Well,
Right?
this movie
Yeah.
proves
Wrong.
that's wrong.
Would you say that it was unbearable?
So Nico's. You know what?
It
I'm
was
gonna say
it was
my
a pretty
reaction to
grisly
Nico's
ending,
post.
I must say.
So the thing that struck me about that movie when I
It's
saw
an
it,
apocalyptic breakup movie.
yeah, well, that's true. It is that. Is I thought there was something wrong with the screen because
Because at first you're like, what the heck?
it's
is
so
going
blown
on?
out. Why is it so blown out? And then it got worse and worse. I'm like, oh, you're killing me now. You're killing me because I'm squinting at the screen while some of the horror is happening. It's so bright.
Yeah.
And that's
It's intentional.
It's so effective because
Yeah.
it makes you so uncomfortable without putting it all in the dark.
Yes.
You know, I you know, Zach and I've had discussions about this. I didn't like his previous movie.
Yeah,
Hereditary,
Yeah.
like it
Pros and
wore
cons.
it wore away on me. Like there's 2 or 3 good scenes in it, but I'm like I drug and I didn't like it. And this movie's in if you're talking about dragging, this movie actually drags more than Hereditary.
It's so
but I also
slow
feel
burn.
I feel
But
like it's
boy, when it
it's more
finally-
precise though.
When it finally...
It's intentional.
By the time you realize we kicked off, it's too late. It's already under your skin, and you didn't even realize it was
Yeah, see,
there.
here's the difference. Midsommar
That
is a
is so
slow burn.
impressive.
Hereditary was a slow fizzle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it just...
you're right.
I didn't even see Midsommar.
You said
You didn't see that one either?
No.
I
There
just
is-
know that Nico was talking about a bear, and I was like, so I made a bear pun.
There
That
is
was
a
my
point
job.
in this
Oh,
movie
man.
in the theater I was like, maybe I should walk out until this scene is over.
I didn't have that.
That is impressive
I didn't
for a
have
horror
that.
movie, and you know the scene I'm talking about.
I do know the scene you're talking
because
about.
it's like
I'm not sure which scene you're talking about. And I just saw it like 2 nights ago.
I
do
mean,
you want to bring it up, or do you want?
well,
me
I
to
don't know. I don't know how
spoiler it?
important spoilery is for Nathan on this because he hasn't seen it.
I mean, I'll watch it regardless.
I'm
Nate-
probably never gonna watch it.
Yeah. Okay. Go.
So I consider it to be like a double rape scene.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, both people are
That's all I needed.
essentially getting raped.
You got it.
in that scene.
I know
It's
which
like,
one
Yeah.
it is.
This is.
Is
and
it by the
keeps
bear?
Going.
And go.
actually,
Leonardo DiCaprio. This is the inspiration from the Leonardo DiCaprio rape scene.
Maybe.
Oh, that's
But
Bear in it, and then you start
I
talking
mean,
about a double rape
I mean, the
scene.
fact that we have
Maybe.
Yeah.
But you know what's really disturbing of that one sex scene is all these really old naked ladies just standing around watching. It's so weird.
I
It's
love
like-
this. I love explaining this movie because
grabbing
it
him.
sounds like
putting
the.
their hands on his ass, hoping and making sure that things will continue.
It sounds like the most ridiculously made up art house movie when we're talking about
It
it.
really does.
It's uncomfortable as
This
fuck,
the
dude.
movie
I need
just
an adult.
it disarmed me so much, that movie.
It starts at the beginning. At the beginning, it disarms you because once like the opening happens and the credits go, we're like, oh crap, there are stakes here. Like that just happened.
Yep. That actress, I forget her name. I really liked her.
I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was in Little Women. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's a chick from Midsommar.
Yeah, chick from Midsommar. It chick from Midsommar and the chick from like a bunch of other crap movies.
Yeah.
But not this one.
Not this one. This one was amazing.
She has a great frowny face.
Yeah. I've got a few other comments, but I'm going to save them because I think the movie's coming up later.
But it was also your turn.
It was
right?
also my 10,
Okay.
so let's move on.
So
to
now we're at 9.
9. Yeah.
My number 9
Moving around
is
long, kind of.
Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, that's such a
Okay.
So Jojo Rabbit, directed by Taika Waititi, which gets mixed outcomes, which is fine. He does not hit 100 all the time, but I really appreciated how this movie dealt with the satire of just making fun of Nazi Germany and Hitler with still actual emotional impact. Like I felt the kind of connection with the kids.
The kid got nominated for Golden Globe.
Yeah, and he deserved it. The kid, and there's another kid too, but the main kid is particularly. They're all fantastic in this movie. They put in really good performances. They're on their marks. It's funny, and they hold their own even with the adult actors like Sam Rockwell is also great in this movie, and I'm usually never disappointed with the Sam Rockwell performance, and this one stands to that as well. And it really does make fun of Nazi Germany and everything, but you still get the tragedy of some of what happens and dealing with a lot of the heavy issues that went on in that time in World War II. So I think it deals with the merging of those two different kind of topics or kind of emotional areas of light and heavy, and puts them together really well, that it doesn't feel discordant. So I was really impressed with that.
I will admit, I did not give this movie a fair assessment. I didn't watch it.
Because of Taika Waititi.
Yeah, because I just got such a hate on for him right now.
Which is fine, like I
I
said.
really do, and it's probably not
Hit or
fair
miss.
because the other movie he did you really like.
Hunt for the Wilder People, I
Yeah,
love
that
a
was
lot.
a great movie.
I didn't
was
like
also on my list, wasn't it?
I didn't like the vampire one myself.
That's fine.
I didn't care for it.
Yeah.
But I gotta go back and watch this movie.
Oh, I am sorry. I am putting my drink against the mic. Sorry for spikes.
Did you see that movie, Tina? Did you see that one with him?
Yes,
Yes.
she was in.
Well, what did you think of that one? Unless it's going to come up later.
No, it's not.
Not that much, apparently.
I enjoyed it. Well, I knew he had it on his list, so the few things that I would say about it are pretty much similar to his. I enjoyed how there's this one scene that just gut punches you. Like, roughly about 2/3 of the way through the movie. And at first you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming. And then you just think about all the things that you've seen before that. And you're like, you know what? I should have seen that coming.
Oh, wow.
Well, now I'm going to be looking for it.
It's
Well,
a
we did say
good
spoilers.
foundation for it.
Too bad I already know.
Sam Rockwell, like he said, was one of my favorite parts of the movie. Just because he makes fun of being the Nazi soldier that he is. But at the same time, you can't help but love that character. And you know me and my opinion on Nazis, especially with me being German. Fuck the Nazis.
Well, everybody says fuck the Nazis. Unless it's, 70s era grindhouse and it's Italian, pretty Italian women in like Nazi uniforms.
But,
it's a whole different thing.
I like Sam Rockwell's character specifically. I was like, you know what? That's a good dude. And you'll see it when you're watching the movie why I think that. So...
Okay. Well, if it's on your... This is one... We did say this. It's one of my favorite things. Is if it's on somebody's list and it's not on mine, and this is not spoilers, I'm going to watch it. I want to see it because I'm into it.
Let us know when you do because we'd like to see it on this screen.
Oh, well, then we'll just plan a day.
Yeah.
And you guys come over and watch
All
it.
right.
Yeah.
Spoilers, I haven't seen it either.
Cool.
All
Well,
right.
then maybe we'll get German food.
Nathan? Oh, that would be yes.
Very
Okay.
cool.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
Number 9, mine is Them That Follow.
Dang it! I wanted to watch this movie.
It is a Pentecostal community in the Appalachian Mountains.
I'm so
and
mad.
The preacher uses venomous snakes in his sermons. And it basically follows this community, and it talks like a kid gets killed by one of these snakes, and the government gets involved. But it's basically following the relationship of the preacher and his daughter, and she has a secret that's going against the Pentecostal community. And yeah, it's really good and dramatic. That was
Is it
produced by Gerard Butler.
what? That's interesting. Is it a actual fictional movie or
It
is
is.
it?
It's a narrative film. Yeah,
Yeah, it's fictional.
I saw the trailers for this and heard so many interesting things about it. And then you saw it on a plane, right?
I saw it on the plane. It was playing on one of our entertainment system, whatever movies, new releases. And I was like, "What is this?" So I watched it, and I was just floored. It's called
Them That Follow.
It's complete. It's nothing I would typically watch because you know me.
It really isn't.
I watch fluff, whatever, but it was dramatic and got me really invested. And it's interesting because like my partner Matt, he grew up in a Pentecostal community, so it was fun to be like, oh, so y'all are this crazy and stuff like that. But
Yeah, it was so funny because when you mentioned it to me, because after you saw it, you texted me, you told me to watch it. I was like, oh, this is a Nathan movie.
Hashtag Black Hat.
Yeah, hashtag Black Hat. But then I went and looked at the trailer and I'm like, this looks like a Steven movie. This doesn't look like Nathan at all.
It was really dark and very. The ending leaves it up for interpretation.
I'm really annoyed I didn't get a chance to see this one.
I'm curious.
Because I heard really good stuff after that.
Yeah, I haven't even heard of this one.
Really?
I vaguely remember hearing it.
It's a small
It
movie.
went away. I remember
kinda tough
seeing
to see.
potions. Yeah.
It's somewhere. I did find it somewhere online.
I think it was
to
like
watch.
Amazon
Prime, maybe.
yeah.
I did have a question, and it's unrelated to the movie itself. How many of your movies are ones that you saw on the plane?
Hang on a minute. Like total or on my list?
On your list.
1, 2, 5.
Okay, that's all I wanted. That's all it was. All right, thank you.
Them That Follow is available to rent and buy, but not stream.
That's what it was. I wasn't anywhere streaming that I could just click and
It's like
watch.
Amazon $3.99.
I was really annoyed because I
$4.99.
saw that Them That Follow was supposed to be on Prime. I mean, not Them. The Midsommar was supposed to be on Prime, but it wasn't. There was, I guess, something changed.
Deal with Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's somewhere though. Maybe it's on Prime now because I was.
No. Well, you can rent or buy, but you can't.
Oh,
it's not
that's
certain.
it.
It's funny because it's an A24, and all of A24's like
I think
on
I
Prime.
think you're right though. It could be that Apple deal.
It sucks because everything else I have is like I remember how quick Lady Bird went to Prime. I was like, whoa, let's just watch this again. My number one movie for that year.
All right,
All right.
Tina.
So my number 9 is Dr. Sleep. I am a
Okay.
huge Stephen King fan, as everybody knows. So I actually saw this movie before I read the book, but I had read Shining, so seeing that climactic, the hotel burns down, I'm like, okay, so they just basically took the ending from The Shining and put it into the movie. Which, having now read Dr. Sleep, I'm glad they did. That works way more cinematically than the actual ending for Dr. Sleep in the book. But no, I think Ewan McGregor did a fantastic job balancing that alcoholic tendency of his father versus the interpretation of Danny still being that caring person. I really liked who they got to play Shelley Long's character, Wendy, and I like who they got to play Jack Torrance. I think they both did a really good job.
Well, you mean Shelley Duvall?
Yeah, sorry.
I was like, Shelley Long. Wait,
sorry.
Is this Cheers?
No.
You mean Grady? His name was Grady.
Just Grady. I love that they didn't do any of the CGI facial...
The de-aging crap?
No.
Yeah, they just got...
from that.
Yes. They just had people who were really good at mimicking those facial expressions, the way they talk.
The woman that played Shelley Duvall is incredible.
She was spot on.
And the little girl who played Abra, I thought she was spot on, especially reading the book, with that confidence of her powers. And then the person who just blew me out of the water was the person who they got to play Rosie the Hat. Because she's fantastic.
She's gorgeous to start with.
She's probably the cinematic villain of the year.
Maybe not the year, but she may be. Yeah, she might easily be my best.
I give Thanos
favorite.
I was going to say I'd give Thanos last year.
But anyway, I think she might be my favorite female villain
of
the last several years. I mean, she blew me away in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I will absolutely say the scene where they killed the baseball kid,
stunning.
That was intense.
Harrowing.
Yeah.
Best kill scene of the year.
Yeah.
Probably so.
And they don't even go into that much detail in the book. So, as I'm reading that in the book, I'm just playing that scene over, and I'm like, ooh. Honestly, watching the movie before the book helped me fill in a lot of the spaces that Stephen King left ambiguous for reasons, and it made it that much more terrifying reading the book.
And you know what's great about that movie, too, is Ewan McGregor disappeared in that role.
Yes.
Because the thing about him, when you do something iconic like play a Jedi, you kind of always look at you as that. But not in this movie.
Obi-Wan went to say,
he does those. He does his mannerisms really well. He really seems that kind of meekish and kind of has that stuttered speech. He doesn't have a stutter, but it's halted. There's hesitation because he is kind of a wounded animal. Almost because of everything that he goes through as young Danny in The Shining, and then what we see early on in the beginning of the film as a younger adult. So he really does just disappear.
So also that movie's Force Ghosts are way better than the last Star Wars.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Way
yes. Way better.
I don't know. I expected that movie to suck.
Where they're like, time really doesn't work for me. It's like, fine, just say that in Star Wars. Literally, just say that.
Okay, we're not going Star Wars. I shouldn't have done that.
All right.
But I expected that movie to suck, and it's fantastic. It's a worthy installment.
All right, Zach?
All right, so my number 9 controversial slot.
Yep.
I have The Nightingale. That's why it was controversial
right there. Get out of here right now.
Is that also your number 9?
No.
Oh, okay.
Hell no. You will. I'm not even talking about it.
It's on my list. Come on.
Go.
Is it because it's too
Speak.
low?
Top 10.
Yeah, it's because it's too low.
Speak.
Yeah, he's like, I can't believe you put that low.
I hate you.
So this is Jennifer Kent's second outing as director, and holy shit, she knocks it out of the park.
And she had a lot to do after making the scariest movie of all time for her first film, right? It's true.
So this is a standard story of
Babadookie.
Basically, lady gets violated, lady gets stuff taken away from her, lady goes on revenge mission. At its base, it's that. However, this is an incredible period piece that really shows the harshness that I think gets smoothed over a lot of times in most modern films nowadays. Showing it's like, oh, if you're a lady out in the wild, you could get raped at any moment.
Yeah.
Or killed.
Yeah.
You know, or God knows what else to you. But this is a exceptionally well-directed film. I mean, as hard as that rape scene is to watch, it is exceptionally shot and directed. There's absolute control in that scene, and she handles it beautifully.
After Zach saw it in the theater,
I mean, they gave 5 different warnings.
Because this was one of those films, and I did it to you guys too, that I called, I texted, I'm like, please, just watch this movie this year. It's important.
I went to the last screening.
He calls me and says, well, that wasn't nearly as hardcore as I thought it was going to be. And I'm like, what else do you want? What else do you want? She gets raped multiple times and her baby got killed. In front of her. While she's getting raped.
A wall.
While she's getting raped.
While she's getting raped. But when her husband just got shot.
When you have online warnings, you have warnings at the box office.
You know,
a warning before the film.
But
I'm expecting some irreversible levels.
But you know, if that guy were a stormtrooper, then people would be upset.
I mean, how much more could they do to her? Within a 2-minute time frame, her husband gets shot, she's getting raped by multiple people, 3 and her baby gets basically squashed.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's nothing else.
They did not show the graphic details. They just kept it, again, tastefully and the correct move. You get the idea, but we're not going to show like
the cinematography of the scene really does that. It, like you get across
splattering against the wall with blood flying.
Exactly, you get across how horrible and intense and evil this is, but it doesn't it's not gory and it's not.
And when they finally go to kill the son of a bitch, I mean, he is a bastard of a character.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I mean, when she finally goes to stab someone, you're like, get the fucker, let's go.
And
I mean, it's metal.
It is. So
the only thing I don't like about it, there's this lull at the end of the second act that is just, it's just
I didn't feel
drags
that.
just a bit. It drags. And
I will say the only reason that it wasn't on my list is because 4 or 5 different times throughout the movie, I was like, "Is this the ending? Oh, it's not the ending. Is this the ending? Oh, it's not."
Oh God, I didn't feel that.
No, I felt that too. I get the feeling that you keep thinking it's about to end and it doesn't.
I never felt that.
I hate teasing movies.
Well, it's kind of a weird build up. But no, it was still a very good movie. It would have been. It's in my top 15.
This might
how dare you?
Spoilers.
This also might be a film that a year from now I go, man, I had that way too low.
Yeah, it will be. Because I will tell you, this movie, it resonated with me because I saw it in the theater. We talk about rewatchability. I've seen this movie 3 times this year because I've shared it with people. And I will buy the Blu-ray and happily share it over and over again because it is a movie that must be seen.
The ending is so good.
Best last shot of a movie this year for me. No, when she takes that breath after everything she's been through and she goes, and you don't even get the exhale. You don't get the exhale. They don't give you that final moment that you think you're going to get.
They don't give you that release.
I do think it's also a very interesting movie if you're not already familiar with the British occupation of Australia during that time period, because you do. It's not something that particularly a lot of Americans would be familiar with.
Yeah, especially if you're not familiar with how the British occupation, the British soldiers, all them. Native Australians, and then
was vaguely aware, but not to the level,
and how they treat the Aboriginals. Because I mean,
so
spot on.
I think it's an excellent movie. It's also an excellent window into the history. So it's definitely worth watching.
Absolutely,
yeah.
All right. Stephen?
So my number 9 film is Uncut Gems. I'd asked Zach to pull this movie up earlier. I know because we didn't get to what I was going to say. Is everybody's focused on Sandler's performance, but the actress that played his mistress,
oh yeah, she was good,
is amazing.
Woo! That ass. Can we talk about that ass?
I mean,
best non-nude scene in 2019.
And she's not nude, but
there's
wow,
no nudity, but
that shot though.
Give it to her. That's great.
That whole sequence where he's hiding in the closet and she's sending him sex pictures basically is hilarious.
Sexting with him.
But what I wanted to focus on was how good she is, and it is her first feature film.
Especially that seems fine.
She's done shorts.
I was going to say the initial attempt at breakup scene after the nightclub, the weekend performance was really good because you felt earnest emotional impact. Like early in the movie, I didn't actually expect her to be that emotionally invested into Sandler's character, but I felt it at that point.
Yeah.
And the rest of the movie they're on.
And her character gets what?
Julia Fox.
What is her name?
Julia Fox.
And her character actually is the only one that gets fair resolution at the end. I mean, she wins pretty much.
She doesn't really win.
She kind of wins.
I mean, she's going to.
We don't know
with a loss, but she will win. The spoilers, the cash.
We don't know.
Lost a boyfriend.
Well,
yeah,
she
but
lost a place to stay.
yeah, but that boyfriend would have gotten her killed or worse. At
spoilers.
Some point.
We also don't know like how altruistic she'll be towards the family.
I don't think she will. She's gone off in that limo, going fuck all of
you.
you.
I mean, she might just be gone.
She finds out he's dead. She's gone.
Yeah,
and that's entirely possible. But yeah, it's just there's a. Yeah, I thought that was interesting that her, and I also thought Idina Menzel as his actual wife was really
crap,
good. She was
really
excellent.
good.
It's like,
and I loved that that kind of that Elsa was great. That kind of how she simmered at her animosity towards Sandler because like they're tiptoeing around a divorce. She obviously wants it, and he's obviously trying to stop it, but she is constantly keeping this face up for her kids and then the family.
And you can tell it's important to her, and also all of his nastiness is embedded into their family.
Yeah,
I mean, he owes money to a family member, big money. But my favorite with her in particular, my favorite bit with her is the reaction shot of her face when she comes outside from her kids' play and has to let Adam Sandler out of the trunk and he's butt ass naked. He's like, "It's okay, it's okay." I'm like, is it okay?
I'm surprised she didn't just close it again.
It is really tragic.
Like you get the feeling she only let him out so that he could have been there. So like for the
I don't
kids.
think she knew.
Until
she let him out.
Yeah, but I mean at that point, as soon as she opened it up, no, because she clicked it and he started opening it up.
Yeah,
but I mean she could have ran and just shut it back down. I probably would have done that. I mean that he did not deserve the freedom that he got because
yeah. I don't know.
Everybody did good. Everybody did a good job. I was surprised. Even like Kevin Garnett is a basketball player. He still was like he was still really good.
I didn't realize he was a real basketball player till Hector told me.
I didn't realize either. Which shows how much we like sports ball.
Right? Exactly.
But no, he legitimately Kevin Garnett is in the movie, actual NBA basketball player playing himself.
So wait, what's the guy? I always forget his name. The guy, the guy who played Adam Sandler's wife's father.
That
they call, like I said, I told you they always
the guy who's the dad in Independence Day.
They always call him when they need the old Jew guy.
Yeah, I forget his name too.
Anytime you need an old Jewish guy, you call this actor because he's going to be good always.
And he's really good. He wasn't over the top either. He was there and he did what he needed to do for the job. It wasn't as ridiculous of a performance as Independence Day.
No, of course not. But his emotional beats after the auction were really good. Mm-hmm. They were really strong. What is his name? I cannot think of it.
Oh wait,
I love that speech though.
No,
with the speech
Judd
that
Hirsch.
No, I thought it was it.
That's not Judd Hirsch.
No,
because that's Independence Day guy.
Yeah, that's him. That is him.
Oh, okay.
I love the speech that he gives that Sandler gives Garnett at the end. Like when Garnett asks how much you paid for it, it's like, I paid $100,000. It's like I'm giving you almost double.
That's what I'm thinking of. Can I?
I'm almost. But he says like I'm giving you almost double. It's like I don't care. It's not about winning. It's about how much I win. You don't want to.
And there's no pictures.
You don't want to win by 2 points.
Pulled up IMDb. What do you want?
All right,
can't zoom and there's no pictures.
But that's such a good speech. I love Sandler in that moment when he's talking about it's the addiction. It's not actually making money. I don't care about the making money.
Right.
It is I have to keep doing this.
He just doesn't want to die. That's all he cares about.
Well, oops.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. While you guys are talking about Uncut Gems, I'm looking at my very nice.
All
right.
Number 8. Dolomite is my name.
I'm so mad I didn't watch this.
Eddie Murphy.
Yes.
Yeah. It was so good. I love that Eddie Murphy is back in a really good way, and I want more of this older, refined
I'm just afraid
Eddie
the follow-up, which is Beverly Hills Cop or
America
2. That
is the next one, and I am also worried about Coming to America.
But Coming to America is directed by the same guy.
It is, but still,
As Dolomite Was My Name.
Yes.
yeah, it is. It's the same director.
So
that almost gives me some hope. But
see, that's
but I'm still very trepidatious.
That's a Netflix movie, right?
Dolomite. Yes.
I looked at the trailer after you told me it was good, and he told me it was good. I went and looked at the trailer. I should have watched it.
It's good.
It is good.
I know.
It's I love how earnest Eddie Murphy is in this movie, because he's funny, because Rudy Ray Moore Dolomite is funny, so it's got all of that. It's got the manner. He's well acted. The mannerisms are spot on. He actually acts in this movie. He's not just putting in a comedy performance, but he also has all the down emotional beats too, where Rudy Ray Moore is like kind of depressed and beating up on himself, and he's struggling to try to make it, to try to get his success.
So what exactly is, like, I couldn't tell from the trailer what the movie is actually about. Is it he plays the actor who plays Dolomite?
Yes,
is that
yes.
the thing?
So he plays Rudy Ray Moore. It starts when he's working in a record shop in L.A., I think,
Okay.
and then and basically his attempt to try to make it into stand-up, and then eventually he nails down the Dolomite performance after basically finding this homeless guy who kind of spoke in similar mannerisms and stealing his act. But he was able to refine that, and he made Dolomite as a stand-up performance, did a record, toured, and then made the movie. And then the movie almost seemed like it was going to be
It
bomb.
feels like it's kind of meta. Then
It kind of is.
Ed Wood almost.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's by the same writers.
fair enough.
Yeah.
So they just took that formula and it did apply to this case too. But I mean, it also has that spirit of filmmaking going along with it too, to where you're like, even this is as cheap as possible.
These plucky little filmmakers, look at them go! It's very much that. It's so endearing to watch it, and it's funny. It's so funny.
And I love the last moment of it.
All right, I'm sorry. You're right. It was Judd Hirsch. I had to look.
The literal ending.
Yeah.
Because it has my favorite quote from Dolomite. It plays that clip where he goes, "Bitch, are you for real?" It's my favorite quote from Dolomite. They play that right at the very end.
But it's not just Eddie Murphy is great, but everybody else is also putting in really good performances too. Wesley Snipes is fantastic in this movie.
See, I'm actually really, and it's like name dropping like nobody's business, but I'm really happy for Craig Brewer, because I know him for a long time. He's a Memphis-based filmmaker. He and I toured festivals together multiple times. He did a movie called The Poor and the Hungry. That is, if you can find it, is a black and white film. It's really good. That was his first feature, and I was on the festival circuit with Fans and Freaks with him and saw that movie. And then he did Hustle and Flow, which is still easily in my top, 50, 60 favorite films, which sounds like low, but it really isn't. Then he followed with Footloose, and I felt really bad. I'm like, Footloose was terrible. So I'm so happy to see he's doing something like with some meat on the bone again.
I can't always hit 100.
And I guarantee
1,000.
you some portions of that movie were made in Memphis, because that's his thing.
He did premiere in Memphis. I know that.
Did he?
All right.
Zach went to, he got
Well,
to see Malcolm.
Zach, who...
Well, he's friends with.
I was going to
Craig
say,
Brewer.
yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
kind of worked on his sets and stuff, so, yeah. All right, good. I'm glad. That was good.
Nathan?
My number 8 is Yesterday.
I didn't get to
Another
see
And
it. Yeah, I didn't get to see it.
It is about a struggling musician who one day wakes up and he's a huge Beatles fan, but he wakes up in a world where
The Beatles
Beatles
don't
never existed. So he starts using all their songs and doing them as his own to make a career, and blah, blah, blah. And Ed Sheeran's in it, Kate McKinnon's in it, bunch of people. There's a bunch of people in
Wait,
it.
hold on. Ed Sheeran's in this?
Mm-hmm.
I'm out.
He plays Ed Sheeran. He plays himself.
Oh, I'm out. I'm definitely
Hey, at least if he's playing himself.
He's playing himself, but it's funny because he ultimately has to be like, oh, you're the best songwriter in the world. Where have you been? How did you come up with these?
You know what's really funny about this movie? When I saw it, I thought to myself, this seems like something Jim Carrey would have done 20 years ago. When he was doing kind of his surreal...
It's kind of like a
Eternal
Truman
Sunshine and
Show.
Truman Show.
Michelle Gondry.
The Majestic.
Yeah, it feels like a Michelle Gondry, Jim Carrey thing. So, I mean, that's a compliment, though, because I would have seen that. I just didn't get around to it.
When was directed by Danny Boyle?
Was it?
Let me look.
I think you're right.
Who's the main guy? Again?
The
main actor?
Unknown to me.
Do you know who it was? The main actor?
Danny Boyle. It was Danny Boyle. Hermish Patel is the main
Yeah, because
actor.
I've never seen him before, but he looked like he was pretty good.
Oh, he was great.
I love the cover for the Blu-ray too. It's because it's a riff on the Beatles album. Yeah. So what else? I guess the music was pretty good.
Oh, obviously.
That's all right.
I'm gonna see it. It looks like it's probably really good.
So I came up with a couple movies no one's seen.
Right? Are you shocked?
This
Right.
is why I
So
enjoy the
excited.
top 10.
Yeah.
It
It's like
is.
that. It's my watch
I mean,
list.
now I'm gonna watch it now.
I actually feel
It'd be
good.
boring if we all had the same movies.
It would
on the
kinda
list,
be
just
boring.
different
Which is
places.
why, like, I tended to reorganize some of my lists depending on like what I knew Nico had on his.
I'm still gonna punch Zach in the post-Christmas balls for his placement of Nightingale. I might punch Nico.
I was gonna say, I like how I get out of this.
Yeah. Right. All right, Tina.
My number 8 is in line with the Stephen King It Chapter 2.
Yes, I loved it.
Still have not seen that.
Okay.
So again, a nice.
Don't you complain? You own it.
I have comments.
I feel a nice wrap up of what we got with It Chapter 1. The casting and the acting was 9.5 out of 10. My only issue is the Ben adult didn't quite
Carry
meet-
over.
Yeah, what younger Ben looked like. But other than that, the casting was phenomenal. Bill Hader stole
the whole
every
thing.
scene he
So,
was in.
interesting story about Bill Hader, and I know this because if you like, I bought the Steelbook
Yeah.
from Best Buy, and I bought it because of the third disc. There's a third disc of tons of bonus stuff, and the Bill Hader thing is hilarious because when they were making the first one, all during the making of the first one, there was discussion about who would play each of the kids.
Yeah.
And the kid that Bill Hader plays, the adult version, went
Yeah,
to
Finn
the
Wolfwood.
he went to the director and said, "Can you please get Bill Hader? I think he should be me." And this kid started a campaign for Bill Hader. And then Bill Hader's they talked to Bill Hader in the bonus feature, and Bill Hader's like, my agent calls me and said, "This kid wants you to play him as a grown-up." And he's like, "What the hell is he talking about?" And it worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it worked out great.
Yeah.
And I will say, what helped me, it probably would have ended up on my list. It was probably going to be really close on my list. Steven and I, before we went and saw it, watched the first movie.
Yeah.
That was a
And
mistake.
Not for me.
It was for me.
I liked watching the first movie and then immediately going to theater and seeing it because I liked seeing the transition. And he and I disagreed.
The first movie is better.
The first movie is
Yeah,
better.
the first movie is better.
But the second movie had some really good.
I loved that they brought
Tie-ins.
in the ritual of Chud, which is in the book. It's not near as weird as it was in the book.
Thankfully, they still keep the weirdest, worst stuff out of the movies.
Yes. No child orgy, no tongue wrestling with the monster.
Dang it.
Dang it.
But and then again, Bill Skarsgård makes a terrifying Pennywise.
But you know, one of the reasons it wouldn't make my top 10 and wouldn't make my top 15 is because there's not very much Bill Skarsgård in the second film. They go for 45 minutes in a run with no Pennywise because they're focused on this amazing. I think they get too buried in how cool their adult cast is because it really is cool.
I have a different theory. I have a theory that as a child, you focus on the monster that's behind it.
Yeah.
Like, you just focus on, like, you don't have that adult deep thinking, overthinking.
You have a vision.
You have a simple way of thinking as a child,
Yeah.
so you see past what the monster's trying to throw at you.
Yeah.
As an adult, you're consumed by fears of, how am I going to pay that bill? What if I don't get that promotion? You know, you have all these fears that are
Aren't related to the actual monster.
yeah. So the monster plays on that, and he's like, "Oh, they don't have to see me to be afraid. I can use these convoluted ideas, and they'll still be frightened of me."
And I agree with that.
And that's what I got from the last flashbacks, though, when they were doing the flashbacks to them as children. You got to see more of what he did to them as kids.
And see, I do agree with what you're saying, but I'm going to call back to what you said about Dr. Sleep. Is even though that in the literary world makes sense, is it as cinematic?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Because a horror movie works on a formula of 8 to 10 minutes scare.
Yeah.
And this one didn't have that. The first one did. Even as over 2 hours, 2.5 hours, you got Pennywise every 15 minutes at a max. And for the second one, I was like, where is he? Where is he? I'm waiting. Where is he? I love the adult cast and was into them, but I didn't feel like it was a scary movie anymore.
Yeah.
And that whole book is scary, both beginning and end. But I think the thing that really bothered me, and I want to hear your opinion on this the most, is the end of the first film when all the kids are out by the
sewer.
The sewer. It's a beautiful. To me, it's the most beautiful moment in that first film.
It is.
Their final conversation. Yeah. Well, the beginning of It Chapter 2, they basically reshot that and retconned a lot of what was said and done in that first one and changed it so they could manipulate it into the movie that they wanted to make in the second one. And if you watch them back to back, you see it. Yeah. It's like in your face
that's
how much.
That's a hard thing to do because they don't really have that scene in the book.
Mm-hmm.
So that is basically playing off of the miniseries where they have that whole Promise Me Infinite.
And I think they should have just kicked the miniseries to the curb.
Yeah.
You know, I love the miniseries.
Yeah. Oh, I grew up on the miniseries.
Same, I did too.
But it's just one of those things that was tricky to do. They should have left it alone from the first movie because the ending of the first movie was, as you said, gorgeous.
It was perfect. It was spot on.
And if they didn't want to leave it alone, they should have at least used the same footage and not try to retcon.
Well, and change the story because they made adjustments to the story to make some sense for what they wanted to do with the adults.
Yeah.
And if you,
which is why it's as low as it is on my list.
Yeah. Now, what I will give it props for, and I highly recommend, is there's a shit ton of CG in this movie.
Oh yeah.
But there's also a shit ton of practical effects in this movie. When she is swimming in blood, she's swimming in blood.
It's a really good scene.
It is all blood. It is the most blood that, aside from the Evil Dead remake, it is the most.
I was about to say.
Yeah,
it is the most
right
blood
there.
I've ever seen in a horror movie.
But that one perfectly bookends the blood scene from the first one. I think because it's intense in the same way.
Yeah.
You need to see Dead Alive, then we'll talk.
But Dead Alive's a really old movie, but I agree.
What, 92?
I was going to say it's
30 years. That's pretty old. Almost 30 years.
You shut up, you.
Less than 30 years?
The 90s were not 30 years ago. Hush.
All right, Zach, what's your number 8?
So my number 8 is the first of 3 documentaries on my list. Hail Satan.
I wanted to see this so bad.
This is a film that just had me a big old smile on my face. Because it's interesting. This is a documentary about the Satanic Temple and how they, got started, and then basically they're, what they do in a lot of times is look for equality in religious institutions, meaning there should be a separation of church and state.
Well, it's equality in the government, really.
Yeah,
it's taking the religion out of government.
If you're going to put up a statue of something Christian, well, guess what, pal? You opened it up not just for Satanic Temple.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was the fight that the documentary really focused on.
Yeah, and boy, there are 2 things I really love: equality. If everyone's going to do this, it's going to be on an equal playing field.
Exactly.
And boy, seeing people get their jimmies rustled and being trolled.
People got trolled.
Beautiful.
And not only that, people at the theater where we saw it got trolled because there was people one of my students was he went to see it but kind of protesting it at the same time, and I'm like, you don't even know what this is.
Yeah.
It's not even about the devil.
Satan and they think, oh, the devil, especially with us being in the Bible Belt.
Yeah, it's true. We are.
The Satanic Temple doesn't even believe in Satan.
Now, I told this to Zach after we both had seen the movie. I said, I kind of knew this already, but now it is confirmed. Anytime I go to a small town, if I want to know where all the hot girls are, go to the Satanic Temple meeting. Because that's where all the hot goth girls are. They're all right there. And it's like, holy crap. Nothing is more entertaining than seeing a construction worker and a soccer mom. And the montages of just people going, hail Satan. Is so much fun in that movie.
It's on Hulu. Absolutely, check it out.
It's there for free.
With a question mark. It is so much fun of a documentary.
Like I said, I really wanted to see this one.
That is a must-see documentary. Everybody should see it. And it's lo-fi as far as documentaries go.
Yeah, it accomplishes what it needs to, but it doesn't, it's not like, oh man, we're pulling a 50 mil out of here.
Oh, let's look at this anamorphic footage.
Oh, yeah, no. It's just like, here's our story. And it's like, yeah, you did good.
Mm-hmm. It's super good.
It is also fascinating to hear how the things that we're used to, like when you see a picture of the Ten Commandments, you think of the 2 stone tablets, right?
They tell you the story of where it started.
Where it started! Because of that movie, Paramount was promoting the film The 10 Commandments. So they were promoting the film like that.
And now people take it like it's religion.
Yes.
And it was them. It was Paramount.
Paramount Pictures.
That sounds right.
For real.
It's fascinating. It is probably, one of the more important, fascinating beats in that movie.
Where you're sitting there and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Why do we still do this
It's like,
now?
how did I not know?
Why is this not talked about more?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's real good. I agree with you. I'll say more, a little bit more
about that later.
Yeah, but not in the way you think.
Oh.
All right, so my number 8 is Ready or Not.
That's in my honorable mentions.
That movie, when I went to see it, I'm like, okay, Disney-owned company. I know it's R-rated, but okay, fine. And I go in there, and it's hilarious.
Boy,
it's well acted and hardcore.
It has those cringe
fuck.
moments, those moments where you're just like physically in pain.
Yeah,
This pops up better later on my list.
It pops up later. Don't worry.
2 tons of fun with a fantastic freaking ending.
I text Zach. I said, "Bitch, you better go see this movie. Don't play with me."
So because should I see It Chapter 2 or Ready or Not? You see Ready or Not?
That's what I told him
Yeah.
because it was a
Oh,
choice
Ready or Not.
between those two movies. I'm like,
No, I think that's the right
I
choice.
think you made the right choice.
it clicks along. It's so fast paced. You don't have any like downtime. And at the end, when you think, okay, well, this is about to wind up and be kind of whatever, shit hits the fan again, and like I don't know, people just start blowing up. It's gory and disgusting and hilarious.
The only thing I just absolutely hated about it was, again, going back to Hail Satan. It's like, Satanists don't do this.
Yeah,
So the fact that at the end they go, Hail Satan, it's like, I just busted out laughing because it was just like...
I think it was supposed to be funny though.
It was. It was intentionally
Yeah, it was
funny.
I thought they were trying to be serious.
No, that was a sin.
Now I'm just picturing the way you described it, that you saw Hell Satan and immediately went to go see Ready or Not.
Well,
That would be-
but, I mean, it's kind of
What
like
a double shot that would be.
It's
That'd be
kind of
great.
like the ending of Rosemary's Baby, where they start doing that, and I'm just like, this is the stupidest shit. And
Now-
everyone just claims that movie to be the
It's
greatest. And I'm like,
that's
this
two
is
completely
stupid
different experiences because Rosemary's Baby tried to go in a serious, like,
It's straight.
disturbing, surreal way, whereas
shit.
this
Stomp
was
on the baby's neck. My
Well-
God, it's the Antichrist.
where the first one, where Ready or Not, is
It knows what it's doing.
it's sarcasm the
Yeah.
whole time.
It's making
Yeah.
fun of doing things like
It
that.
is.
Well, and
It
it's kind of like the along the lines of Cabin in the Woods, where it's just making fun of.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While I don't necessarily think it's as clever as Cabin in the Woods was at its best moments, it's so good. And when I go to talk about experiences for me, I expected the movie to be meh. Okay, I'm Regal plussing it, so it's not costing me anything, whatever. And I came out just exhilarated,
Yeah.
because it was so much fun.
Smile.
Yes.
Big, huge smile. on
and
my
don't
face.
worry, we'll be talking more about this.
All right, well then let's just move on.
Number 7 is Booksmart.
That'll show up later on my list too.
Directed by Olivia Wilde.
That is also my number 7.
It's
Oh, look at you!
Oh.
Where's the high five?
Huh?
Yeah, there you go.
That's how you do a high five, you guys.
We did it. Just took twice.
So this is like high 2.5. So anyway, Olivia Wilde's first feature film. It's this teen
Where's
dramedy.
Olivia Munn, Zach?
I hate you.
It's this teen dramedy about the whole classic. We're graduating high school. We're becoming adults, so we have to have that final hurrah. So it's a very tropey movie, but it plays well with those tropes in a way that I think a lot of people could resonate with. A lot of high school overachievers could resonate with
And
that did
I'll be
not
honest,
get out
I
and
acted
socialize.
a lot like those two characters in high school.
I did not have a social life at all. I felt very similar to a lot of
The
the
actors were great.
I think that's why we all, and that's why I really wanted you guys to come over and watch it with me, because I feel like I connected with it in that way too.
I really
They
like
felt like my people.
the kid actors.
I had a banking social life. I mean, I went to my ACT test hungover from the night before.
Oh, that wasn't me.
But-
And scored.
Yeah.
Yeah. And scored a 32.
But yeah, so
I got grounded for that until my mom realized that I did fantastic.
her mom didn't know 32 was good. So, but no, it's all the kid actors. So they're young adults, but they were playing high schoolers. But they're not that far removed, and I feel like they pull it off a lot better than a lot of peer-like movies of that do the same kind of thing. They definitely feel like that that hesitation and anxiety about going through graduation and about moving on to your next stage. A lot of that comes through really strongly.
Losing your best friend at that time.
It doesn't put the rosy, like, it happens in the movies glasses on it. Like,
it's all awkward
sex scene
and gross.
I love that sex scene.
Yeah.
It's so, because it's
real.
Perfectly done.
Nothing ever goes smooth in sex.
I mean,
especially your first one.
You tell the difference between a vagina and a butthole. I mean, it's not like...
The boosie.
I mean, I've seen Superbad.
Yeah. Well, so you know, and that's...
I didn't like it, but it's not because it's a bad movie.
I liked it.
I just didn't like it.
But what I liked about this movie... and so I know we're coming back to it. I'll save a couple of comments. But what I liked about this movie, I will say, is it was, to me, it was super bad for girls without alienating a male audience.
The guys. Yeah, I feel like it's got more of an emotional depth that Superbad didn't.
It does.
It played on
which makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah, it played on the high school stereotypes, but then broke it down at the end of the movie. Be like, this isn't exactly what you thought it was at all. Mm-hmm. So,
well, I have thoughts on that too, but I'll save them.
There's no McLovin in the film. 0 out of 10.
There's what?
No McLovin.
0 out of 10.
Well, there kind of is.
There kind of is.
Kind of is a
No,
McLovin.
she's a druggie and she just randomly shows up.
No, I wouldn't have said her.
I wouldn't say it was her.
No.
Yeah, it's not her.
No.
It's a guy. There's a McLovin.
Yeah.
He's a male actor.
No,
anyway,
female.
Nathan.
Female Superbad.
What is your number 7?
My number 7 is Joker. And that's the only movie on my list that I was only able to watch once because I watched it last night.
I'm going to get the feeling that's the only time it's on anybody's list.
Yeah, we'll see.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Maybe. I don't know.
All right.
I love... Okay, so I never came from the background of, like, superhero, like, comic books, stories, like, coming with those characters. But I love how they told a Joker story from a...
I don't think it's picking up.
Yeah. From a perspective of, like... Correct me if I'm wrong.
He starts chewing it slower.
Because I'm really not used to background.
I'm trying to listen to Nathan here. You all are distracting me.
Yeah, let me speak. Go. Correct me if I'm wrong, though. Like, from the original, like, Batman universe era, like, Batman creates...
That's already so many ways I go down that.
Batman is led to create Joker.
Not always. Well, yes. Well, Batman does ultimately always create the Joker.
Yeah.
It happens in different ways.
But different ways, yes.
But I loved this movie. It felt like Joker led to the creation of Batman.
Well, I don't know if we know that.
But it implies.
Yes, it is.
No, we know that. We do know exactly that.
He started the protest.
It's not to the extent. It's not to the extent of like the Tim Burton movie where it was the Joker that killed him. But
yeah. But I just loved the development. First off, Joaquin Phoenix, man, as crazy and weird as he is, the dude can act. Dude can play mental illness.
But really I think he channels that crazy and weird into this character, which is really good.
Yeah.
No one's going to say Joaquin Phoenix can't act.
So, I'm going to give my positive comments on Nathan's, and I'll wait to rip the shit out of this movie until it comes up on the second.
What?
Yeah.
How did you know?
I will agree with you that Joaquin Phoenix, he won the Golden Globe, and I think it was deserved.
Undeniable.
And I will tell you this, like, and this is the moment I knew I was going to put on my list. There's a feeling right after he gets fired and all that stuff happens on the train, and he's sitting there watching the news story, and his mom's sitting there with him, and the feeling of him watching and having that psychological entertainment in it really, like...
Well, he was also in that scene coming to realize who he is, what his call in life, and what he should be. It's realizing who he is in this world.
But I was sitting there on my couch, and all of a sudden it was like kind of like when you watch Lion King.
Don't give me that
and
look.
like Mufasa or whatever. They're talking to the hyenas. The hyenas are like,
I get a feeling
I was sitting there on the couch going,
I'm kind of worried now. I think Nathan's going to become the Joker, and I'm kind of concerned. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I want to give a...
He's a joke, not the Joker.
No, Zach's the joke.
That's true.
That was the joke.
All right. I want to give my comment. I want a positive comment. I want to give mine. The production quality of this movie is amazing.
Yeah.
The setting design, not only to make it look...
Set design?
So the set design, all of the work to make it look like an authentic early 80s, like just out of the 70s movie in a fictional Gotham is astounding. It looks so good.
Well, and the thing is that the producers, in particular, along with the director, they wanted to channel New York in 1981 because there was all this stuff happening, protests and things happening. And
they wanted to channel early Scorsese movies.
We're going to get there. I'm trying to be positive. And they nailed it because the look, it does feel like it came out of the late 70s.
It's an amazing feeling. It brought really good emotions to me, like psychological.
Yeah, because you could relate to him.
Yes.
You felt like you might be him.
Just like Tina can relate to her number.
If you relate to the Joker, I think you have missed the point. It's kind of like, I relate to Tyler Durden. You have missed the point.
No.
I'm biased towards this movie in the negative just because of work emails. So
you're bringing too much exterior into this.
I am, but I can't help it when you have 50 emails about, hey guys, we need to change the geocache for this stairs.
So, Tina, what's your number 7?
Booksmart.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah, knocked that out.
Sorry.
Zach, how about you?
Well, did you want to say anything else?
So let me share the one thing that Booksmart's not on my list at all, and it is for one reason: is I think a lot of times with films about young people and about their stories and that kind of thing, directors and writers feel like they have to share a message, and I think the messaging in the movie is off. Because at the end, when they start to realize the acting moment, the moment with the actors where they start to realize, hey, we've missed out on our youth, I think is amazing. But the way they reveal that is to show you every stoner, slacker, loser, or whatever. Every single one of them. Wait. Let me finish. Every single one of them is going to an Ivy League school. Fuck that. I can say fuck that. That's not reality.
It's like, can I say fuck on my show? Fuck that.
Yes.
Here's the thing.
It's not reality, and it's a bad message.
Because parents buy their kids into a school, or the school.
But that's not what it's saying.
The school needs
that's not what the
diversity,
movie.
so they.
That's not.
It's not.
I think that's definitely a more surreal aspect. I mean, you're right. It's played as straight, and that is not how it happened.
And the rest of the movie isn't played as surreal, except a couple of parts on a boat.
Yeah, but I think if it definitely should have. It should have worked around that a little bit better.
Yeah,
because they could have had that realization in a better way.
In a way to make it feel like these characters feel like everyone is moving on to do better things. Mm-hmm. But
I don't mind if they had like one or two of the stoner kids being
fine.
But if like the other
to realize that they could have done it.
To this one that has a really good art program, or I'm going to this one that's overseas that I want to delve into the culture. Like that would have been great. They didn't all have to be Ivy League top school.
Every single one of them.
Every single one.
And
except one, he's just going straight to Google.
Yeah, he's right. So I think there could have been a moment there where they could have had a conversation with instead of with all of them.
Speaking as an employee of Google, nobody gets hired onto Google just like that. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, the thing is they could have had a conversation with one person that they didn't think was going to be worth the shit. Who they found out is, and that person proved that you could have had both parts of your life.
Yeah.
That's what they should have done. But when it's delivered in such a way that this is the message that we want to portray.
It feels like the entire graduating class is going on to all these top-notch
it felt like the entire
they pushed that message a little much.
If it had, and I wanted you guys to watch it because I wanted to hear your thoughts because I was conflicted, but I just couldn't get past that messaging. I think it's bad for young people to get that message. It couldn't be it's not even in my top 20 because of that. Because of that. Otherwise, it's amazing. I think it's funny, and I love the actresses. I mean, I hope we see both of them in other stuff.
Yes.
Zach? All right, Zach?
So my number 7 is Joker.
You didn't have to wait as long, did you? You had to go longer.
I'm ready to leave.
What hasn't already been said about this movie?
So let me ask you something.
It just rips off the King.
You just said technical is important to you. Is technical really important to you?
Whoa.
How's plagiarism? How's that feel?
Oh God! How
do you feel about plagiarism?
That's not technical.
How do you feel about plagiarism?
It depends on how it contextually.
Oh, does it?
It depends on how contextually.
Oh man, Steven's gonna fight. Steven's gonna fight.
I'll kill you.
And this is one of the choices I just kept flip-flopping back over Nightingale in this one. I just kept flip-flopping, and I was like, I'm not touching it anymore.
That's not only is it on there.
Yes.
Joker displaced Nightingale.
Yeah.
It was the one that I kept switching those two.
Oh
And I
my
finally just
God.
said, I have to stop.
All right, so that's it. We're gonna do a double shot. We're gonna watch the Joker. I'm gonna watch Gus Van Sant's Psycho back to back.
That's different.
No, it's
Psycho
not.
is a shot-for-shot remake.
I could pull 6 shots out of Joker without even thinking about it. That are
Six
right
out of what? How many shots out of Psycho is a ripoff? 100%.
Todd Phillips is a plagiarist.
You know
He's
what?
a plagiarist.
It's a good movie.
No.
You get what you fucking deserve.
No, you,
God.
like I'm sitting there and I watched it and I was loving Joaquin Phoenix. I'm like, he's so good.
The
but
only
then,
thing
but
I
then,
don't like about that film is one, the flashbacks to show he didn't have a girlfriend, and two,
That's
when
terrible.
He puts the gun like straight out
multiple
of the
times,
taxi driver.
including the fingers and the whole thing, and then every other shot looks like it's either Taxi Driver or any
King
number
of Comedy.
or King of Comedy.
Yeah.
And you could argue other Scorsese films too. I mean, it looks like, I want to be Scorsese.
Especially when they de-aged him.
I mean,
Yeah,
yes,
right? And it's like, like I wanted to come out, like I came out thinking, it's all right. But the more I gestated with this movie, the more angry I got. Because I'm like, this guy can't make his own.
Back to it.
He can't make his own film.
I keep going back to it and watching. Yeah, I've watched it like 3 times.
Oh my god!
And this is the last of my controversial stuff. You can rest assured this is the last.
I want to like it. Everybody likes it.
I don't.
Like,
I other reasons beyond that, but I don't actually like the movie. Like I like the technical aspects of it. Like the performances are great, the production's great.
This is why I didn't send my list over, so you
Oh.
can read it. And
no, I already knew.
I was gonna say nobody should send their list over until we've had this conversation.
I don't want to see anybody's list in advance because I like the surprise. But I knew this bitch right here. But I didn't know
This
you were
bitch
going
being
to
Zach,
double
everybody.
insult me. And,
But
but
they would have
Nightingale.
thought Zach and I would have had it in the same position.
Oh, right? I thought.
Oh,
Damn it! I messed that one up.
wow.
You know, I didn't
Wow.
think you two liked the same positions that much.
I mean,
How's the boosie?
I'm verse.
It's tight at first, but then it kind of just mellows out.
So,
It's like, why did you not like it? What is?
what were the reasons? Because we gave plenty.
Yeah.
Because we tore it apart during.
We did
the
tear it
episode.
apart in an episode. Yeah.
I just
Check out that episode.
please do.
I tended to block it from my mind because I just didn't want to think about it anymore. So all of my issues for that movie I've erased, just like most of that movie I've erased.
I just couldn't. I respected the performance.
Yeah, you can't not respect his performance.
But I
Yeah.
couldn't
He
get
absolutely
into.
deserves the best actor.
I couldn't get into following him.
I couldn't get into some of the how they portrayed some of the characters. Like the Thomas Wayne character for me just felt too off.
Like I felt like they tried to do.
Representation of Thomas Wayne.
It's not even that. It's not the comparison to Batman canon.
Yeah.
It's not that Thomas Wayne shouldn't be an asshole like that. Like, okay, fine. Your Thomas Wayne is an asshole. We can deal with that.
Yeah, that was fine.
But I felt like it was too many red herrings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kept doing. It's like, oh, Joker, you're the son of Thomas Wayne. You're Bruce Wayne's brother. Actually, you know what? You're not. That's a lie, or is it? And then like all this stuff with his mom, and then all this stuff with the girlfriend, which I knew was fake. But the fact that they just so ham-fisted put it in there, and it was just all of this. It like spinning out of control, and I
I
just
agree with that.
couldn't get into the character.
Well, you know what? In
He was
a year
very-
or 2 or 3, we might look back on this and go, "God, that was wrong." But
I won't.
Nope.
I already know it's wrong right now.
Steven, what's your
I
number?
love you said that right after. I love
Yeah.
that you said that right after Nightingale too. It's like a year or two after this, it might be higher, and then a year or two after this, Joker's going to be lower.
Right? Then Joker will be off your
I
list
said that's fine.
like a smart.
No, it happens. It's very much in the moment, so that's
Oh,
fine.
I'm so triggered right now.
All
My
right,
head
all
starts
right,
sweating.
all right. Steven, you're up next.
What?
What's your
I don't
seven?
even know what number we're on.
Seven.
So, kill you.
And if anybody's wondering, oh my gosh, it's taking forever, we're about to overlap a lot. So
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Apollo-
first 5 are usually
All right,
the
so
hardest.
here's something different. My number 7 is Apollo 11.
yeah, we might talk about this one later too.
Apollo 11 is my absolute favorite documentary I've seen this year, and I've seen a lot. This one, if you didn't see it in the theater, you
really
really
missed
missed out.
I mean, I cannot tell you how much you missed out because good luck reading those titles.
You don't.
I'm serious.
Reading what titles? Who
I mean,
cares?
there's like saying this is Kennedy
You don't.
Space
You
Center,
don't need them.
This is that time, but they're so small on a TV. They're meant to be on a big screen.
Well, what's meant to be on a big screen is basically what is special. about this documentary is there's not one sit-down interview. Yeah, we can watch it here. There's no subtitles, no on-screen text to walk you through the film. It is literally this filmmaker got access to a bunch of amazing footage from the Apollo 65 millimeter footage, which is
unseen 65.
Why it looks so beautiful in the theater of that era when the Apollo 11 was launched, and he cut this footage into a story that you follow by context and by being a fly on the wall watching it happen from people who experienced it. There's shots of people that watch it, that watch the ship launch, and you're looking at them thinking, man, those are great costumes, and you realize, oh no,
because it looks like it was filmed yesterday.
Yeah,
the footage is so crisp and clean.
You can see
and it's
like, so beautiful.
God.
You can see the rocket going up in the reflection of a woman's glasses.
That is the most stunning image I've seen all year. That image is, I mean, I'm a little bit depressed that it hasn't been seen prior to this. It's the picture I would almost frame and go, this is the NASA
this footage
missions
sat in a vault. It's been sitting in a vault all this time.
I mean, it is
stunning. If you're somebody who doesn't appreciate the traditional formula of documentary where it's sit down interview, this who's person, here's some on screen text to take you to the next location, this is a movie to watch because you just soak it in. It's beautiful, and you see everything. You see unrestrained access to the control room during the launch, and then people's reactions to it, and the astronauts leading up to it, their families and everything. There's so much footage that they took. I felt like I was there.
I mean, because the footage was so crisp, you're like, I mean,
is it real?
Yes.
Is it real?
Because we've always had that, almost Zapruder film,
grainy,
grainy look. Now we're getting a clean, crisp image of it, and suddenly, I'll get to this later.
Yeah,
you can relate to it so hard.
Yeah,
you just connect.
These aren't old people; they're
people,
regular people like us.
Yeah, and then the people who shot this footage, I don't know if they were documentarians or if they were just NASA employees, but there's lots of times you just feel like you're walking through the place with people.
Through the crowd.
Yeah, you're just right freaking there.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
All right.
Absolutely see it. It's on Hulu.
Yep.
Okay.
It's on Hulu.
Number 6?
Yep.
All right. Knives Out.
I wanted to see this. I haven't yet.
I refuse.
Okay, go.
Because it's your boy.
It's your boy.
It's your boy.
My boy no more.
Oh, what's your boy?
It's a fun murder mystery. It's a very Agatha Christie whodunit with really good takes on how it does the mystery. I kept going back and forth on where I was going to place this one, but I settled on 6 because I love Daniel Craig in this movie so much.
Daniel Craig
They
owns
said they're
this
going to
movie.
be doing a
So-
sequel
Yeah, I was
based
gonna
off
say
him.
I need a series of movies
Yeah.
with Daniel Craig.
Yeah, but please don't let it
Blanc to
be
the next
a story
Hercule
sequel.
Poirot.
Let's just see Daniel Craig on another.
No, yeah. It's not like dealing with anybody else in this movie. It's just Daniel Craig on the next job.
Yes, it needs to be the next Hercule Poirot series.
Yeah.
And I loved that. This movie is smart enough to let him be a really good detective, but he doesn't instantly figure it out. He is wrong or confused, and definitely has times where he is trying to work through things. So he's not perfect.
Yeah.
So that's very great.
We can't ever eat donuts because Nico will just recite that entire.
I love the donut speech so much. It's like it's a donut hole inside a donut hole, and it's like, oh man, I love it so much. Yeah, and the cast is really good. The only one of the drawbacks I would give the movie is that I wanted more time with the ensemble cast because it was
like there were so many people, there wasn't time to spend enough time with each person.
But I enjoyed everyone in it, and I really hope this does lead into a good, long-lived franchise. Especially now that Daniel Craig is going to have his calendar open for a while with no more Bond movies.
No more Bonds. Yep.
Is that confirmed?
Yes.
He said that. Yeah. And your boy, America's Ass, he was pretty good in that movie. He was really entertaining.
It is very fascinating to see Chris Evans in this movie versus Chris Evans as Captain America just earlier in this year because they're so radically different roles.
Yes.
They really are.
I heard it was a great cast, and Steven, you and Hector went and saw it, right?
We did.
Fantastic cast.
The only person I didn't like, and I kind of hurt it for me, and I normally love her and stuff, is Toni Collette. I felt like she was miscast.
I think that's okay.
How was Jamie Lee Curtis?
She was
great.
Good.
Oh,
she was good.
great.
Yeah.
Perfectly cast. I think she was great in the role that she
Nico
was
got
in.
upset because I got him Chris Evans' sweater.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Christmas, I'm opening my presents, and Tina got me the sweater that Chris Evans wears, and the white one.
Or at least one that looks very like it.
And I turn to her and go, Tina, you got this for you, not for me. This is
Accurate.
not a gift for me.
It looks so good on you.
Nathan, I think you should watch it. I think you would really like it.
I think you would, yeah.
I think you'd like it.
I think
yeah.
I'm gonna add that to a list too.
So the only thing that would normally bother me, and I think I told you guys this before, right after I saw it, was in the resolution of it, a lot of it is just explained in monologue.
Yeah.
And that would normally bother me in a regular mystery type film, but this is Agatha Christie style, and that is her style. If you watch 10 Little Indians or Murder on the Orient Express, those kind of things, you get that sort of Scooby-Doo whodunit thing at the end. So with the kind of movie they were making, I was kind of okay with it.
Yeah,
I was fine with
it worked with the movie. It fit in well. Nathan?
My number 6 is the Peanut Butter Falcon.
I didn't get to see this.
I wanted to see it.
Yeah,
That was
good.
I almost
And
red boxed it.
Shia LaBeouf, Dakota Johnson. There's a Down syndrome kid. That's basically the main premise of the movie. He escapes like a nursing home to pursue looking for his favorite wrestler. Runs into Shia LaBeouf, who has his own drama going on. Dakota Johnson was that health caregiver at the nursing home.
Who would have thought Dakota Johnson was going to wind up being a reasonable actress?
This was...
No, she's been good. She was good in Bad Times at El Royale.
She was.
Yeah. I was like, what? You're good. Thank you.
I mean, she was good in Social Network.
Yeah. Okay, continue.
Yeah, it was just a great movie. Something I probably wouldn't watch, but this was what I'm considering the Shia LaBeouf comeback.
Well, this is his second comeback. There's that one, and now he's got
Honey Boy.
Which
looks good,
is
and I want to
supposed to
see
be very
that.
good.
I haven't
so.
seen Honey Boy, but for a period of time, he went down the Disney, post-Disney rabbit hole.
Well, he went down the plagiarism down spiral too, didn't he? He had a script that was basically proved to be stolen or something from somebody else. Yeah,
I really don't remember.
Yeah, he got blackballed for a while in Hollywood because of that.
He came back in Fury. I remember. Hearing
was it good?
How good that one was.
Was it?
People were on the fence because of his cannibalism.
Yeah, that was a problem.
He is an actual cannibal. That's Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Normal Tuesday night.
Exactly. So the only reason I didn't see this is because I just couldn't get to it. I was trying to go to the theater and see it because it looked like it was going to be good, and all the word was that it was super good.
Well, I'm glad I'm giving you all movies to
I think
watch.
it came out.
Actually,
Look at you!
Yeah, you're
Look
right.
at you!
I think
Another
it came out
one.
when Nico and I were doing our massive MTAC promotion.
Yeah.
So we just didn't.
And this was one I watched on the plane.
I think it was just the theater was crowded for me. Is the only reason
Yeah.
I missed it. There was a lot of things to see.
Yeah. Tina?
So my number 6?
Yep.
My number 6 is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay.
So if anybody knows me,
I know why this is on your list.
Yeah,
That's my honorable mentions.
so I absolutely. My mom was a twisted individual, and she raised me on Stephen King, Agatha Christie murder mysteries,
Yeah.
and the Manson family murders.
Yeah. Okay.
So, like I said, I grew up a very messed up person. So this was just right up my alley. Just that whole storyline switched up from another person's point of view, and then changing the ending was fantastic. And that ending was by far one of the most entertaining and fun times I've had watching something like that. Complete with flamethrower and everything.
Yep.
The filming was beautiful. It felt like I was in a movie theater in the 70s. It was great. The soundtrack, I loved the music for it. The acting.
I actually felt this was one of his weaker soundtracks, but I think it was fitting.
I think it fit.
I'm going to disagree with
Perfectly.
you on that. I'm going to disagree so hard with you
That's
on
okay.
that.
That's okay.
But the acting was really fun. You could tell Leonardo DiCaprio had a lot of fun with this role. You could tell
Brad Pitt owned that movie though.
Yeah.
And he just won a Golden Globe.
Yeah,
and
you could tell Margot
deserved
Robbie
it.
had a lot of fun with it. You could tell Brad Pitt just.
Everyone enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Everyone had fun.
And
No, totally.
I'm gonna say this: that was the best use of an attack dog I have ever seen.
Take lessons, John Wick.
Yeah. It's second to the riff. Raph is the best attack dog. If you haven't seen the movie.
So my only critique is with being raised on this. I wish there had been.
You were hoping for more.
Manson. Yeah. But I loved all the attention to detail in this movie was fantastic. On our way to New Orleans, we listened to a podcast that was 13 hours long
of Charles Manson, of the whole 60s Manson life and everything.
From this point of view, this point of view, this point of view. And they got so many of those small little details in that movie that you would not have been able to, Nico wouldn't have been able to pick up on had he not listened to that.
Yes, I learned a lot, so I was able to see a lot of stuff. And I think so many people probably went in that movie just on pincushions, waiting to see how is Tarantino going to deal with how are we going to deal with the murder of Sharon Tate and everything.
He subverted everyone's expectations.
This time it works.
This time it works.
Yeah. He didn't subvert it just for the sake of subverting.
Like I said, I got 25 minutes.
I guess two conversations at once.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad that this is on your list because I would like to, sort of point out the difference between homage and plagiarism. This one is homage to the classic filmmakers of the 60s and 70s.
Well, we can talk about it later too. But before then,
okay.
Yeah, it's an homage.
No,
Zach,
I'll kill you.
My number 6.
Disgusting.
It's like I got a minute. Is Uncut Gems.
Wow, that's really up there for you, sir.
I really enjoyed this one, and we've talked about it to death. So I'll just
this should just be called Uncut Gems.
We've talked about it like 3 times.
Yeah, there's not really a whole lot left to say unless anybody has any.
This is what we're talking about, where it gets faster in the back half of the show.
This is the last time we'll be talking about it.
I have a sneaking suspicion my number 6 might be on somebody else's list too. Okay. But my number 6 is The Farewell.
I want to.
My honorable mentions.
So no, you're wrong.
Okay, all right. Well, good. I'm glad it's on somebody's though.
Aquafina just won.
Man, she deserves it.
Aquafina,
So
she's somebody that came out of nowhere for me. I had never heard of her before.
Yeah.
She did a lot of comedic stuff.
And I looked, and she did a lot of I don't know, cringy comedy stuff. Yeah.
Honestly, she annoyed the ever living shit out of me prior to this movie, and then seeing her in this movie, it's like, you are great as a dramatic actress. Okay, you need to do more of this.
Well, and it's for me personally, a comedy is one of the harder sells, for me to really invest in and be something that's long lasting. It's funny, I was reorganizing my Blu-rays and I realized my comedy stack of discs is like this. I don't, stick with it that much. I find things funny. I love comedy, but it's not rewatchable for me. But this one is rewatchable because it's almost a perfect balance of comedy and drama. And Awkwafina, she's stunning in this movie. She's stunning. And there's social commentary in here that's specific to those situations that we wouldn't have any connection to, but they explain it without explaining it. Mm-hmm. You just learn it through the osmosis of the story. And I just think the story is beautiful. And Hector was giving me grief earlier because he said I have a dark heart because I don't always enjoy...
Well, you hate love.
I hate love. And I also don't always enjoy the sort of storybook endings. I don't like it usually because it's so predictable and so trite, kind of, to me. But this one, the exuberance in the end of it and the passion in it.
I did not expect the ending. I did not expect that.
Yeah, I didn't expect it either. I was for sure that we were going to end on a down note. Yeah. And it didn't. And I don't know, it's a beautiful movie. The cinematography is basic in it, but it's effective.
So the storytelling was what it was.
The storytelling is beautiful. The acting is beautiful, which I know it's a different thing if you don't speak the language. So you have to get it from body language and from emotional delivery, and it's all there. That part where she first
they have a similar movie about that later.
Yeah, when she sees her grandma, and her grandma has that that big pancake, and makes her take a bite of it. It her face says everything.
In her face.
And they're all after her because they know she's going to ruin it because she has no poker face, and immediately everybody in the family is right there. I don't know, it's so good, and
there is some
probably relatable
good editing in this movie.
It's exceptional.
There is some moments I was like, Holy crap, that was amazing.
I think we might be coming back to it again.
Probably not. I didn't get to see it.
Yeah, I didn't get to see it either.
Oh wow. Okay, well good. You need to see
Well,
it.
yeah, that's what I said. It's on Yeah.
Yeah.
This year was pretty cutthroat, so.
It was, yeah, especially trying to catch up with stuff in the end was rough.
Yep.
All right, top 5.
Number 5, Midsommar. We're back.
Midsommar, we are back.
We're back to Sweden. It's gonna be fun.
are
It's
back
sunny
to
and bright and vibrant, and
there's free pot everywhere.
there's
all the colors.
and mushrooms. There's mushrooms
shrooms.
too.
There's plenty of shrooms.
And there's
Yep.
a bear.
There is a bear, and there's some really weird fucking.
I don't know if the bear is the one raping or not.
You just gotta see it. I'm not gonna.
I can't answer that straightforwardly. I mean, it's. I love that. I love that I can't answer that straightforwardly. It's like I mentioned earlier. This is such a hard movie to describe.
Curiosity. Now you have my attention.
You need to watch it.
I mean, I
You
just
need to watch
watched this movie, and
And your Facebook post cracked me up because you posted, "What the hell did I just see?" I was like,
It's like, yep.
"That's perfect. That's it. There you go." Yeah.
When we were talking about movies that I wish I could have watched uninterrupted, this is one of them because it was one I watched at home and I was able to pause because I was foolish. I was like, you know what, I'm going to start laundry and I'm going to watch this, and then like, you know what, I got to tune everything out. I'm pausing this movie to put on headphones and just zero.
Good for
in.
you.
And he's wearing headphones, and I'm like, well plus our neighbors were being loud.
But yeah, it was like I got to tune everything out.
It's
watch this
very
movie.
meditative in story delivery, so you need to focus.
Yeah,
you got to pay attention.
It starts strong, like super strong, when you get this emotional connection to the main character of like, I have to follow you now because I care. And then
Because she's great. She's great.
we talked about the connection to Hereditary because it's the same director. It's in that same vein of cerebral, slow burn horror movies. But where Hereditary, I think, falls apart in a few areas. I did not like Hereditary. One of which is
same.
I don't care about the characters.
Exactly.
One way or the other, I don't care. I have no interest in the characters. Whereas this one, I am interested. I'm already at the beginning interested in the well-being of the main character and the supporting characters. The rest of the people who go with her, like her boyfriend. I am immediately interested in them doing poorly.
I mean, even the character with the eyebrows, Mr. Eyebrows guy, I don't even know his name. All I know is that he has those weird eyebrows. He is a fascinating asshole of a character.
They're assholes. Like, I want you guys to get your comeuppance because you're terrible people.
Yeah, Nico and I were talking about it and comparing it to Hereditary, which I was just being a soundboard at this point. But we were discussing there's a difference between badly written characters and characters that are made to be assholes.
Yeah.
You can be a bad character
And that's
without being a bad character.
But it's easier if you contrast that bad character with something good.
And they have that. They have both good, and how they deal with each character's kind of what happens to them, what kind of the mysteries they fall into when they get into this commune, this village, and deal with the strange religious ceremonies and cultural oddities here. There's a knocking noise.
Yeah, it's been happening for the past couple of minutes.
Someone's hammer.
Oh, I know exactly what's happening.
Uh-oh.
Pictures are being put up in another part of the house.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I was going to say, is it the hammer?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's the hammer.
No, not the hammer.
It's the hammer.
Oh,
Here it
God.
comes.
This is the movie to talk about it on. but and when you finally...
God, I didn't even
when you
blot that out. Just don't remember that.
that second time with the hammer, the one in the temple room, the book room, is just out of nowhere.
It's
and you
out
don't,
of nowhere.
You don't call it happening. And like everything, like the first deaths that happen in the movie, which aren't horror movie deaths. These are culturally accepted. Like these people, like, yeah, we know this is going to happen.
Time to go?
Yeah, it's Cinecide, I think is the term. Like elderly people committing ritualistic suicide because their time is just done and they're no longer useful or able to take care of themselves. But it's so shocking when it happens, and you are with the other characters that witness this because they are also shocked. Some of them, but others are like.
Others are just like, okay.
The only thing I would give some weird. We know they're assholes, but like the black friend that went with them, the token black friend, I guess.
Yeah.
But he's obviously culturally aware. He kind of knows what this is and doesn't give anyone a heads up.
Exactly.
But that goes to the point, like every single person that's in here, except maybe the common people themselves, because they're weird, but they're raised weird. They're not these just asshole college frat guys.
Yeah.
It's like, in the girl, the main character, it's like, I want her to do good, and I want the college frat guys to just...
But you know what's really funny about that is I love the first first 10 minutes of that movie is how you go through this sort of adjustment with her character.
Yeah.
Because right away you feel like, oh, well, she's being set up as, the bitch ruining the dude's good time.
Yeah.
And then you get to know the dude and you're like, fuck them.
Yeah.
No.
This really was the case where I read the majority of the script prior to reading it.
Oh, what a shock.
Yeah, shocker is
Reading
right.
the script and seeing the movie.
Oh, it's gotta be.
This is why I always say that to you when you tell me I read the script.
Meanwhile, Rise of Skywalker, it was a 1-to-1.
You still saw it though. So yeah, I was so impressed with how well they built up.
Plagiaristic.
I was so impressed with how well they built up this movie. Built up the tension. It just constantly kept going and building, and the surreality of this commune and the setting just kept going and going and going, and how it happened and how they kept bringing. We joke about the bear, but it's such a throwaway line early on in the movie. It's like when a couple of guys are like, "What about the bear?" It's like, just a bear. Yeah, and then you see the fruition of the bear.
And it's like, what?
And you forget about the bear because so much weird crap happens between A and B.
Yeah. And, the marketing of this movie was brilliant, too, because it gives you nothing.
I
thought I had a lot, but it gave you nothing.
Nothing.
It's just a Wicker Man ripoff.
No. All right.
That's it. Nathan, you're number 5.
Number 5, Fighting with My Family. It is about a WWE wrestler. Her name's Paige in WWE.
Has The Rock in it, right?
The Rock's in it. Nick Frost, Lena Headey.
I love Lena Headey.
Lena Headey's in this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Damn it.
Adding
It's a really great movie. It is true story off this wrestler's upbringing, trying to get into WWE. Her brother didn't get accepted into it, and it just follows her story up to the point of when she makes her actual debut in WWE thanks to The Rock.
And see, I've heard nothing but good things about this movie. I can only say I didn't see it because the subject matter wasn't something that grabbed me. It's like wrestling, so I just wasn't feeling it.
It looked like generic family movie.
It looked like Sandra Bullock should be in it.
With wrestling. And that turned me off to it until it's like 95% Rotten Tomatoes. It's like,
what? It's really good.
Great movie, but I also come from a background. I love WWE. I love wrestling. I knew this character. I knew this. I've met her several times on the plane.
So you were able to connect with it.
I can connect with it on so many levels.
Cool.
And,
I think maybe for me it just inched too close to sports.
Well, there's another one for y'all to watch.
But it has Lena Headey in it, so now suddenly I'm interested.
That's a major plus.
Sure.
And Lena Headey is the only reason I own a copy of The Purge.
She plays
the only reason.
She plays this girl's mom.
All right.
And
cool.
It's a quirky wrestling family. They own a wrestling thing in England.
And I've learned that if The Rock is in it, I'm probably going to at least enjoy some scenes because he just entertains me.
Yeah.
Cool.
My number 5.
Number 5.
Yep, is 1917.
Wow.
That was one of my
Okay.
mentions.
So
Just under the buzzer.
Just under the buzzer.
yes, this was another debating of it had the limited release.
Now I see why you had a dog in the race in the discussion. That's funny.
But no, I loved how, again, with the trailer, you didn't really know. You thought you knew, but you didn't.
Are we doing spoilers for 1917, considering it hasn't come out yet?
Let's avoid that one. Let's avoid that
since
one.
it's not wide. It's actually wide this weekend, I think.
Yeah. But the cinematography was really nice.
Yeah.
It's Roger Deakins.
It's Roger Deakins.
Well, I mean, I'm not familiar with people's...
Well, I'm just telling you.
But
it's Roger Deakins.
Cinematographer is
There were
almost
some
worth
shots.
the price of admission right now.
There were some shots that I was like, oh, that looks like it could be a painting. Or that looks like it's, artistically, just meant to be there. But no, I thought you could easily connect with the characters. There was no real forced, antagonistic. Aside from, of course, they're in war.
Yeah.
Aside from the Germans.
There's
The more
there's
interpersonal
dedicated
antagonism.
Bad guy.
Yeah.
And I love films that do that because it's like, oh, so you don't know where this struggle is going to come from next. But no, I thought the acting was really good. I thought the characters were well written. I thought it flowed very nicely.
Oh, I love the flow.
Yeah. I did not, I felt that this movie was, 15 minutes long because I was just sitting there watching it and so engrossed in it, and then all of a sudden it's done, and I'm like, wait, no, give me more. So yeah, that's why that one starts off my top 5.
So that movie, the thing about it is, at its heart, I think, is a character study.
Yeah.
Because I love a movie where it has, and I've been looking for this script for us to do forever, where it's just a simple plot, point A to point B.
Yeah.
He had to run.
You have
Okay, run.
this.
Okay, and now we can just invest and learn and connect with the characters because there's not any other huge story to worry about except the fetch quest.
Yeah.
It's basically the full 2-hour fetch quest.
Let
Run.
me ask you this. So since 1917 popped up on this list for this year.
She can't use it next year.
I
But
cannot
can,
use it for
can
2020.
anybody use it next
Yes.
year for
Yeah,
2020?
yeah, they can.
Yeah, especially if you
I'm
go see it
using
now.
I'm using it on my list this year because it goes to my honorable mentions. I saw it this year. That means it goes to the list.
Spoiler alert! It doesn't really matter. It won't be on my list. I mean, I love the film. It what it says is how strong the movies were this year.
Yeah.
Because I have no gripes about the movie. I can't tell you something that's wrong with
I
it.
will admit, like, some of my, aside from my top 3, my construction of my list was basically like, oh, well, I know we're going to talk about this movie, so I'll put that in my honorable mentions and save that spot for another movie that should be talked about.
And
Right.
it's so easy to like pick and choose like
This
what
was a
order they go in. It was
strong year
hard.
for movies.
Yeah,
This I was saving that for the end, but I
my top 2 were pretty solid, and everything else is like I could change easily.
My
Yeah,
top 3.
I'm probably in the top 3, just like that. Now, a side note: when we talked about this movie before on the show, I had a question about this. Like, it felt blown to me. Like, it just felt blown out.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
over-
You're wondering if that was the projectionist or the movie.
Well, I've since seen the trailer in 2 other theaters. In the trailer, it is blown out in
Okay.
2 other theaters.
Which
So,
could be to hide the fact that it's not all one continuous shot, but to make it
covering the
look
clouds.
Yeah.
And I almost am sure that that's what it is.
Okay. Zach?
Well, speaking of World War One, my number 5 pick is "They Shall Not Grow Old." The documentary
true.
from
Yeah.
Peter Jackson. Basically, where they took around about 100 hours of all this footage from World War One, cleaned it up, restored it, colorized it, being as accurate as possible to color, and then made it look like 24 frames. They either slowed it down or sped it up, and literally you see these images that you've always had this disconnect of, again, like with Apollo 11, where it's these old people, or oh, this is from so far away.
Just grainy footage. And
All of a sudden, I see boys on the battlefield scared for their lives, and it's incredibly humanizing. That's just one aspect of it. This movie is incredible in terms of we're only going to listen from the interviews from the people that were actually there, that were taken in the 70s and the 80s, and they've done and restored that audio as well. And we're going to get mouth interpreters who we're trying to figure out what they were saying, get people to say those lines and sync it up, and get accurate, guns and effects to what it would actually sound like being on the battlefield. It is extremely humbling film that completely makes me forgive the Hobbit trilogy. I fully forgive.
I will
Peter
never
Jackson.
forgive that.
This makes up for it.
This had to be funded somehow.
Oh,
No,
he
Peter Jackson did it for free.
Oh, well,
he did it for
He
free.
literally did it for free.
He didn't get paid.
Technology was funded though, but I think he had,
No, it's his own workshop. What?
I know, but I think that I read that there were some nonprofits that went into that.
I mean, it is a staggering piece of documentary.
But he worked for a long time on
Yes.
that
Yeah.
movie.
Yes.
I mean, he had to make a living somehow.
600 hours of audio.
So that Hobbit movies while he was doing this at night.
He made his
that's
money
what
off
it takes.
producing
Okay.
Pacific Rim Job.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie really was just. I mean, it floored me.
If that's not a sex parody, though, it needs to be.
What's that?
Pacific Rim Job.
Oh, it's got to be.
It has
sure it
to
is.
be.
No,
I was thinking, they shall not grow old. How are you making a sex parody?
Yeah,
It can be
exactly.
done. I'm going
Or
to
is
stop
that-
right there. I don't
is that
want
the scene from
to.
Midsommar?
I don't want to drill down. Oh God, no.
Oh, bro.
Oh no. No, I'm done. Steven, please
Anyway,
move
I
on.
think you can get on Blu-ray,
So-
but I haven't seen it stream anywhere.
I saw it somewhere. I think it may be in a Redbox. I think it was an option.
More people need to check this movie.
I'm gonna see it.
It was. I wanted to see it.
it was a real limited theatrical run.
Yes.
I mean,
to
it
get around
was
to
like
it.
a week. Maybe.
Yeah.
It was a couple Fathom events, and then it got a week.
And then
Yeah.
it got a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've thought about this a lot. I've changed my tone on this
Here we
movie. So my number 5 is Annabelle Comes Home. Just fucking with you.
Oh man!
I was like, this guy.
See,
I've been waiting to do that the whole time.
We're near the 2-hour mark. You need to bring some brevity into the situation.
All right, so, but you ready to get real?
Yeah.
Because my number 5 is Parasite.
Okay.
Wow,
What?
We'll talk about this a little bit later.
Yeah,
We'll totally talk
my
about this
number
movie
5
later.
is Parasite. And since I know it's on so many other people's lists, I think what I'll do is just reserve comment until we get there. Because
Okay.
I know it's on other
Boy,
lists.
we're gonna get there.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right, number 4.
Number 5.
Yep.
All right.
It's number 5.
So we're just gonna jump to my number 4 then.
Yeah.
If it's good enough for the Golden Globes, it's good enough for me.
It's true.
1917. We're back in World War I again.
Here we go.
Just when you thought you were out.
Just
Everything,
bringing it right
everything
back
that
in.
like Tina said about the movie, I agree with. Roger Deakins does a fantastic job. He should get a second Oscar for this movie. I think I love how intimate this is. It is a very intimate movie. You are with these two characters throughout their whole escapade of having to do this very important, timely mission. It makes sense why it's all kind of one continuous shot, and doing that keeps you close to them. You don't get caught up with a lot of the other big like admiral stuff of the war. It is these two foot soldiers.
None of that stuff that matters.
There's nothing in it to take you out of.
But you still get scope. You get grandeur because they're going across the front line. You get to see the devastation and the horror that has happened across these trenches in World War I. And then you get little bits when they interact with other soldiers about other aspects of the war.
Or other humans.
Other
who
humans.
aren't even part of
Yes,
the fighting.
It's been a long while since barbed wire was and felt really scary.
And you feel
Yeah.
it. You feel everything
feel
that
that
happens.
moment where you go, oh, that's not good.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Isn't it funny how you say, and you're accurate, that it's intimate, but it's such a wide scope, a lot of this movie. It's so huge.
Because they're in a huge situation, and you're seeing it through their eyes.
You
It's
see it through a straw
Yeah.
of a wide situation.
like you know it's such a big deal because they are in such a big deal, but it is all on them. Their mission, all the lives that are on them. Everything's on these two people, and it's just so close and so intimate. I'm using the word over and over again, but it's really good. They're great actors. I love the cast.
Yeah, they're really good.
You get small bits with more named actors that I also appreciate, but I also appreciate that they don't give them the time. I really enjoyed the opening early bit when they're getting their orders from Colin Firth, because Colin Firth gets more screen time in the trailer than he does in the movie.
Accurate. It is weird.
It's weird, but it's
Yeah.
good. It works because it's from their point of view, and you get that kind of a couple other times too with some other actors that are again named actors, recognizable actors, but it doesn't matter because it's about these two guys.
So Sam Mendes won the best director, or was this movie the best film?
Best film.
Best
It was
film.
best
Film and best director.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. So did anybody watch his speech?
No, I didn't watch any of it.
Favorite comment of the night. He said, "Please see my film on a widescreen the way it was meant to be."
Yeah, it was. If you
Yeah.
you have to see this
Please
huge.
go
It
see
looks
this
gorgeous.
in theaters because it is
Blasphemy to
astounding.
watch this film on a phone or an iPad.
I'll
I'll
watch
kill
it
you.
on an iPod.
I'll watch it in your theater.
An iPod.
I think you should just go watch.
All right.
Regular ones like the Nano.
But back into it real quick. It's not just how gorgeous this movie looks. It does. Roger Deakins.
Yeah.
Seamlessly how well the camera moves around in this movie. We've been in the early right before trailers start, and we've seen the behind the scenes of where you'll have two guys running with a camera and then jump on a Jeep and still holding the camera and then jump off, and then we're going to put it on a wire and we're going to hold the wire as the camera goes off.
And when you see that shot in the movie, it's like, what?
Yeah, if you don't watch
When
any
that
of that,
shot happens, I'm like, hold up. Pause the movie. How the fuck you know that?
It's
because you're wondering, because there's so many great shots that are very
beautiful.
hard to do. It requires a level of skill work.
Even
that
there's
not
a
a lot
couple
of
of
people have.
times. There's a couple times where if you've got the eye for it,
Well, you can see every edit.
you can see the cuts.
Right there.
You can
Yeah.
see the CG covering stuff.
You can, yeah.
But it's okay because if you just invest in the characters and the story like you're supposed to, Zach,
What?
None of that stuff matters. You just feel it, and it flows over you.
Because the movie doesn't give you too many times to calm down and think about it. There are quiet moments to catch your breath, so it's not overly exerting on yourself, but it does keep you tense throughout the whole movie. Okay, and that's it.
All right.
Number 4, Nathan.
My number 4 was Booksmart, and we've talked about it, but for me, I absolutely loved this film. I loved the character, specifically the characters, the interaction of the two main girls, their friendship, how different they are from each other, and how they treat each other. I was able to relate to some of my friendships.
Favorite scene?
Favorite scene?
Do you have a favorite scene?
In Booksmart?
Yeah.
When they were tripping off and became the little
the Barbie dolls.
Oh my god!
That was my favorite part.
There's a lot of really great scenes in that movie. With their character interaction, like you said, how they like start over complimenting each other would always make me laugh. And the porn scene is probably one of the funniest moments in the whole film. It's really, really funny. Without getting too.
Listen to something I put on the radio.
I love when they get into their fight too, and then like the I call her the secondary friend, the skinny redhead, whatever, and she's locked in the house with the cops show up, and she's like, I gotta take one for the team. I gotta take one for here we go. And then she just barges out.
Just like McLovin.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Tina?
So this one we have already talked about.
Here we go.
But it's Ready or Not.
All right.
So for me, Samara Weaving is
in-laws.
I have a feeling she's going to be this powerhouse. The more she does, I have a feeling she's going to just...
What else did we see her in?
If you've ever watched The Babysitter on Netflix, that one's a really good one. She has a weird habit of being in movies that involve Satan of some sides.
Yeah, she's a Satan worshiper in that movie, too.
Yeah.
Well, not two, but...
Yeah. But, no, I loved her. I loved her reactions. They felt very organic for me, being the situation that she's in. I love the twist of the Faustian legend. So with me, I'm also stopped up, so I'm like...
I think we're all suffering.
Everybody knows.
Yeah, but...
damn it.
No, with me being as into literature as I am, seeing what I feel is a fresh take on the Faustian legend is very welcoming, because usually it's, oh, this person made a deal with the devil, so you're seeing his comeuppance, whereas this is like an innocent bystander gets dragged into it, not knowing anything, so she's having to fight, and at the end, just having that little image of Satan just being like, what's up, girl? It's like, that is the quintessential, to me, that's the whole...
Well, to have a whole group of family members and people who had to go through their games.
Yeah.
But you
that's the whole beating the devil at his own game, except for he was in on it. Like, I have a feeling that the devil purposefully drew that card, because it's like, okay, I'm tired of giving this family all their wealth.
I think you could argue that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You could argue that.
But it's one of my favorite scenes. The absolute moment that I fell in love and knew that this movie was going to be on my top 10 list was the little kid who sneaks out of bed and goes to the bar and shoots her. It's like, you think, oh, well, maybe this kid is innocent enough, because you have that first bit at the beginning.
With the brothers,
Yeah. And you're thinking, oh, well, maybe not all the family's evil just yet. Maybe there's some saving grace. No. This little brat, this little dickwad just shoots her.
And she goes, you mother... And knocks them out.
That
was the moment I fell in love with this movie.
That scene, and it's masterful acting and editing. That scene with the nail, that kind of stuff doesn't usually work. When you do that kind of setup, it doesn't usually work on me. But then when it actually happened, I was curled up in the seat. I was like, oh my god!
Yeah, that scene.
Yeah.
So going back
really good.
to an earlier mention of comparing something to The Evil Dead, when The Evil Dead, where like that little scrape against the D, that I felt that. This one, I felt it in my hand. I was like, holy
like you're grabbing your hand.
Yeah. And I'm just like, if you can make me feel the physical pain that a character's going through, you have done it right.
We're going to be talking about this movie again.
We need to watch Deep Red. All right. Because that is a movie that makes you feel pain in ways you... It's really
impressive.
good. It's really good.
So what's your number 4?
Mine, I literally, forgot. Oh.
Must have been memorable.
No, it's just I've reorganized them so many times. Gross, but in the context of the scene...
It's the cinematography plus you're not sure what the fuck you're seeing.
Yeah.
Crossed with what you are seeing. Crossed with...
Well, and what they do...
literally the climax of the movie.
Yeah, they put your mind... They use the camera and the editing and sort of, the way they choose to shoot that last... It's not the last sequence, but it's toward the end.
It's the climax of the film.
To put your head in the same headspace as the people that are messed up on the drug. So it's so swimmy and that stuff. I can turn upside down on a roller coaster all day long. It doesn't normally bother me, but it's the overall context and the way that it was used. It really got me. And this is another story, in a weird way, like 1917, where there's not a lot of story here. It's people had a great show. Simple. They're having a celebratory party. Somebody
spikes the punch bowl.
With LSD, and then you get to see what happens to everybody who drank the sangria, and that is it. That's the story, and that's not even spoilery. That's the trailer. It's everything that happens.
The last 50 minutes of this movie is a legitimate one take.
It's not hidden with CG like 1917 or anything.
For real,
they just pick that camera up and go with it, and it's
impressive because you're like, holy shit.
This is one of my favorite directors, and
he was cinematographer on this.
Yeah.
No way was, doing it on the camera.
Yeah, I mean, he's the reason that, outside of Dario Argento, he's the reason that I follow modern horror movies, global horror movies, because he pulls me back in. And this is not even a horror movie in a traditional sense, because it's not
there's a killer and somebody's killing. No.
Yeah, it's not a slasher movie. It's not all that. You just got to experience it. You just got to see it. It's something so unique.
It really is. It was a theatrical experience. Seeing that on a really loud, big screen. I mean, walking out of it, I'm like, was that an Atmos mix? Did Belcourt suddenly get Dolby Atmos in here? It's a 5.1 mix.
It just feels like it's all over you. So for the first 6 months of this year, that was my number 1 film.
Yes. Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh. I mean, on my list.
All right. So, number 3?
Yeah.
Number 3 is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
All right.
I think I am boosted by the fact that many of us have seen it in how it should be seen in a 35 millimeter print.
35 mil?
Because that does so much for this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really good movie. I think it's Tarantino's most put together movie. Mature. Not like... Yeah, it's the one that's all of his techniques in filmmaking are most well put together and polished in here. And his influence, it's the most distilled.
Shove it in my face a little bit more.
Well, it's the most distilled and aged Tarantino abilities. I love the actors in it. DiCaprio and Pitt are such a cool pairing.
They are it's better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, they are together really good, and even separately. I loved the subplot of DiCaprio's trying to find himself in acting again, trying to figure out what his career is supposed to be, and it shows a little bit of him having that emotional breakdown in that TV show episode filming. But when you actually get to see how it happens and watch it unfold, it is very powerful. And then you have the bit about Brad Pitt's just almost lackadaisical adventure during the day and finding himself at the ranch where the Manson family's staying, and just accidentally being in the middle of all this and how it just comes together is just so weird.
One of Nico's favorite shots that he just kept going on about was when Brad Pitt's at the ranch and the dude is trying to pick a fight with him, and Brad Pitt just punches him, and that image where it's like he just lifts off the ground.
Because because the image at that point, the camera's just at the ground and just showing their feet, and then when Brad Pitt's character punches the other guy, the guy lifts. I love how badass they make Brad Pitt's character in this movie. Yeah, he's great. He's a superhero almost. It's fun. And then again, we talked about best dogfight in recent cinema history. That was best assault dog. It was really effective.
John Wick 3 did not have the best dog.
John Wick 3 did not have the best dogfight of the year.
Like 3 dogs in it, so that's kind of sad.
Yeah, it is.
Although only 2 of them really fought, but still. But yeah, it was just a fun movie. It was a fun Tarantino movie. I like fun Tarantino movies. And it was definitely a love letter.
And that ending was a payoff.
The ending was a payoff. Because as I mentioned earlier when it was on Tina's list, how everyone's on pincushions just waiting to see how this will end. How is Tarantino going to resolve the Manson murders? Because this is a famous series of murders, a very awful situation, and he pulls it off. It's remarkable how well he pulls off what happens, because he plays with history. It's very glorious bastard.
History.
It's very Tarantino.
Very Tarantino, but it works so well. And
it's so funny because when he announced that this was going to be a big portion of the story, I remember being like very vocal about, I don't really care about seeing him tell this story. I've seen it told a lot.
But he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't really. It happens in the background. It's just it's very cathartic in a way if you do know the history with how the movie actually ends, and you have the Brad Pitt character and then the DiCaprio character with the flamethrower. That's the Chekhov's flamethrower is the best addition to cinema tropes.
As soon as Leonardo disappeared off screen, I'm like, I know exactly what he's gonna get.
I didn't see it coming until he walked out, and I was like, oh shit.
So if I remember exactly, and I checked this, I'm pretty sure this is the accurate number. I was looking on IMDb, and there were 42 films this year shot on film. Most of those were not in this country. So it just was such a pleasure to see not only something shot on 35, projected on 35, and shot so beautifully.
Because it gives a warmth and an extra texture to the viewing experience that feels right for the era that this takes place in, and the production is great. I've had
love that went into this movie.
I've had a lot of movies on my list of talking about like production, about like how specific to detail they are in the setting and the set design and all the little things that are on the set, how they try to make it look like the era. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood does it. It looks like, if it's not even accurate 60s, it's what you imagine it should be.
Yeah, and I think it really is. I think some of it is accurate, and then some of it is his sort of through his childhood memory of what it is from his. He lived in Knoxville and then New York, if I remember right.
No, Knoxville and then LA.
LA? Okay, so I bought the steel book, and the bonus features go over how they made it look of the era, and considering the budget of the film, it's fascinating because it's not CG. Yeah. They built that stuff. They went back to the buildings and rebuilt the facades the way they were.
I will say my favorite shot in the whole movie is just when they attach the camera to Lady, third car. Director and lady who got killed in real life. I forgot their names.
Sharon Tate.
Sharon Tate and director.
And Roman Polanski.
They just attach it to the car.
I love how you say Roman Polanski, director guy.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But it's like them driving down the hills, and it's like just after magic hours, so there's these nice blues everywhere.
Yeah, that's a
good. It's just, you're riding with them for like 30, 40 seconds. Just, I don't know. That really
it's beautiful.
Stuck out to me.
So to be like not devil's advocate, I guess, but to bring a different side to it, it's not on my list.
It's in my honorable mentions.
Because I think the first half hour is really great. I think the last half hour is amazing, and the middle hour and a half is blow.
I think that's fine.
Margot Robbie has almost nothing to do but look pretty and have dirty feet.
I think Margot Robbie is the weakest part of the movie.
Yeah. Not her fault.
Yeah, not because of anything that's her acting capability. She's fine, but you're right. She could have better things to do.
And also, I feel like that middle part of the movie is Quentin Tarantino meandering through things of that era of film that matter to him that we don't need.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, I grew up with Kung Fu theater on Sundays, and the Bruce Lee thing is entertaining, but not necessary.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff, it's just over an hour of stuff that just doesn't have to be there.
Whereas
You know?
I loved the middle just because of how deep I am into this subject.
Yeah, but it steps away from
yeah.
the subject that you're interested in for a
Well,
long period of time.
For a bit, but there's still little nods that give you that. It's like having like little snacks.
I was going to say, it's because you're desperate for some coverage of that particular subject. And there's some great movies. And see, I feel for you in your old age because of, you know, her obsessions and things. But I have a connection to that story in a weird way, only because the 80s movie called Helter Skelter.
Okay.
One of the scariest movies I've ever seen in my life. And part of it was because of when I saw it as a child. And I may have told you this, but I saw it in 1986. And so they have the movie, you know, you've seen all this horribleness. I shouldn't have been watching it at that point in time, probably. And at the end, they cut back to the court scene, and the guy who plays the attorney comes out and just sort of recaps what's happened with Manson since the court case was over. And he's like, and he's due out, you know, he's up for parole in 1986. I thought
You thought you were in the theater with Charles Manson.
Well, no, I thought he was getting out and coming to get me.
Exactly. Yeah,
that was terrifying.
You thought he was.
So yeah, I thought, okay, well, he's
spoilers. That doesn't happen.
Spoilers. It didn't happen.
That motherfucker stayed in jail for the rest of his life.
Didn't he die?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I have that same, you know, sort of connection to it, just because it's so much that part of history for me. But yeah, I feel like it just meanders away from it though, into like, oh, here's how cool, you know, the Westerns were. And here's how cool Bruce Lee was. And here's how cool this was. And that was. And I feel like maybe it's Quentin Tarantino edging toward the end of his career, wanting to just sort of remember all the things that matter.
He's got one more movie.
Yeah.
Remember, he's got 10. It's the 9, so he's got one more.
He said.
So I wanted to wait until the last time that we mentioned this movie for one thing. It takes a phenomenal acting power, to act alongside Leonardo DiCaprio, and that little girl.
Oh, that girl was great.
Phenomenal.
Really good.
She's good.
Was amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, she's really good.
All right, Nathan.
My number 3 is The Art of Racing in the Rain.
I didn't see this.
Wow,
one.
Your list is just full of movies I ain't seen.
I heard kind of not so great things about this
So-
one. Finally,
A lot of people, I didn't know what I was walking into. I thought it was a racing movie when I...
did you go to the theaters?
No, it was in the plane.
Oh,
I'm
of
walking
course.
onto the plane. And I was coming home and I put this movie on. I thought it was going to be about race car driving. But it's interesting. You all are going to think of it like Dog's Purpose, but there's...
That's what it looked like.
It's a golden retriever
I'm
who
sold.
is
Dog dies.
who's adopted or like picked
He
up by
does.
this race car driver.
He
So
said.
the golden retriever is telling the story, like
They beat
narrating
that
the
dog, you know.
story.
Oh,
whatever.
no, I'm
But
out.
the golden retriever is so into race car driving himself that he's telling it from his owner's appreciation.
Did the dog drive? Just ask.
I am here for this movie.
Not in the sense you think.
What? Oh, man.
Not in the sense you think. It's not like Homeward Bound.
Did they animate the dogs?
No. But the dog, it picks up on like how dogs can like cue into like certain things, like if someone's sick or if someone's whatever, like stuff like that. It's a really good movie. It's really masculine compared to what you all think. It really is. It's really masculine.
I really have been wanting to see this.
So
movie.
there's no Boosie in it?
Look at what you did.
What did I do?
What?
You were banging your foot and it
Yeah,
kept
look at
wiggling.
what you did. No, that's going to be a loud pop in the
Oh,
edit.
sorry.
Yeah, look, I think you can see it already over
But
there.
no, my book club has been going on about this book. Anytime somebody posts, "Hey, I'm reading this book,"
Yep.
and so I've been wanting to read the book and 2 see the movie.
The movie is phenomenal.
So-
The movie's phenomenal.
That's Golden Retriever, you know.
That one's probably not.
I've got no dog in this race, so
Yeah. Oh my goodness! Now that I know he drives, though.
Not in that sense.
now I want to know what sense. I want to know what the sense
in
is.
the car driving. He literally gets to the No, I'm not canceling.
Oh
Yeah.
no! What, does he transfer his spirit?
No,
into the driver?
don't tell me. This is got to be a thing that's got to be experienced.
Okay.
You do have to experience it.
Okay, good.
All right,
I
I
Tina.
can't wait to hear the response.
So number 3, which will come as a shock to no one, for me is Knives Out.
What?
Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow. Shocker.
I refuse.
Okay. In all fairness,
He ain't my boy no more.
I mean, I get it. I didn't
This
watch the
movie-
JoJo movie, so I
no,
get
you
it.
don't get it. This movie was literally made for me.
Oh, I know it
On
was.
this
It is
note, I gotta use
Agatha
my-
Christie.
You could have not said that. You could have just got up and went.
That made it more fun, though.
It is Agatha Christie-esque. It is Daniel Craig doing a fantastically heavy, just Southern accent.
Which-
and it is Chris Evans in a fucking sweater looking at a total snack. Okay? It is made for me. Okay? They had to cut out.
Jesus, y'all.
Who did
That
it?
one was mine.
Maybe it was you last time, too.
No.
Who knows?
Oh my
They
god.
had to cut
Oh
the
my
movie.
God, that's a spike.
Oh,
No,
man.
that's from the previous one.
Yeah, that's a previous Zach Spike. I think it's behind.
They
Continue.
had to cut out the part where it says this movie is dedicated to Tina Heimdall because there wasn't enough time in the movie. Okay, that's how much this movie was made for me.
Yeah, and we all knew it when the promotional material came out for
Absolutely.
it that was going to be all because you love the Agatha Christie stuff.
I do. I love murder mysteries. I love
And
those
you-
cozy mysteries, and I love Chris Evans. Everybody knows that I love Chris Evans.
Would you eat America's ass?
Yes,
She would totally eat
Totally.
America's ass.
I was honestly not
absolutely.
expecting that. I thought
Then you don't know Tina at all.
Tina, no.
All right.
Your setting screen popped up. It didn't work.
All right.
But
All right.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, Zach.
All right, my number 3.
It's America's ass.
And
America's
let's,
ass.
let's just say these are the big boys of the year.
These are the big boys.
These are literally my top 3 are interchangeable for my number 1 based on my mood.
Okay.
So
what's
this
number
is
3?
Literally, I just had to sit down and go, fine. Number 3 is Climax.
Okay.
And by God,
It's
just an experience.
So you know what's interesting at the beginning is there's so many characters like that you have to get to like know basic who they are kind of thing.
It's 10 minutes of introducing every character.
And what they do though is what he does is so cool, and he's done this before, but it's his method is rather than cut to this conversation, cut to this character, cut to these guys. He just picks the camera up and floats it around in the room, and you'll float into a conversation, get to know who these people are by their sort of their attitudes or whatever, and then it floats right out to the next conversation. And it's like you're walking around in the room, and it can be a little head trippy, but it really works.
And even in, there's this big old grandiose dance number at the very beginning.
It's beautiful.
If you pay attention to that, of who's dancing with who, and then you pay attention to later in the film of what happens with who, they set up some of that stuff. It is fascinating on rewatch.
And one of the most beautifully shot dance sequences in the last several years.
I was sitting there going, holy shit.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
As the music and the use of music, I have never felt. I love techno music. I love dance music. There was a point in this film where I'm like, oh, thank God there's no more dance music. And someone grabs a boombox and goes, hey, it's fine, I got my blaster over here. We can continue.
And cranks
the music."
it back
You go,
up.
Oh, no.
It's back.
I mean, it was an absolute. It's probably the best Gaspar Noé movie.
No.
I mean,
It's
maybe.
right up there, though.
I mean, it's close.
It's right up there.
It's close.
He's got some good work, though. Anyway, you guys should see it.
Okay.
It's hard to talk
It's
about.
right there, sitting right there. Please see it.
No, we need
I
to
see
watch
it right now.
We need to just watch it here
Yeah.
Okay.
When are we gonna do that?
soon.
We've got a list of things to watch
We
here.
do. All right, so are you ready for my number 3?
Yes.
The accurate placement of Nightingale is at number 3. Yeah, because
Is it one of you big boys?
it is one of my big boys. Because I think part of it's because I didn't expect it to be so good. Went to the Belcourt and there was, I don't know, not that many people in there.
Yeah, there was maybe 15 people in my audience.
Yeah, probably the same, 15, 20 people. But that in the theater with that 15 or 20 people, loud as hell, cranked up, when she confronts that dude in that restaurant and just blows out that song, it brought a tear to my eye. I'm not gonna lie.
That was strong.
That was beautiful.
They play the song in the trailer, and boy, when it pays off in the movie, it's like.
And I remember seeing the trailers being mad that they played it because I'm like, she sings it so beautifully, but it's a different experience when you have it in context.
Yeah.
And you could sit there and think, well, I mean, that's not really how it would happen, but this is her means of communication with people in a lot of ways. It's how she survives in the beginning of the film. So, and it's the thing that they had between them is that she was his little nightingale or whatever. So when that scene happened, like, it just moved me. I was like, oh my God. It's like she's already stabbing him right there in front of everybody, and he just doesn't know it yet. So I don't know. That and that breath at the end on the beach, so beautifully shot, it's masterful. Masterful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Well, number 2,
Here we go. What's it going to be?
Avengers Endgame.
That's my number 2.
Good, we can speed this shit up.
Yeah, it's already at 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost a 3-hour show.
We're shorter than the movie. It's okay.
That's true. Yeah. If I made it through Avengers Endgame without peeing, I'll make it through this.
Oh God, I really enjoyed this movie. It is such a cinematic achievement to wrap up a franchise, Star Wars, successfully, and have to do it, dealing with over 20 movies as opposed to like 8. And Avengers does it. I loved that this movie was both a callback. It did a victory lap with its use of time travel, as contrived as it may be. It's still, this movie took the time to go back and look at everything that this franchise has achieved.
Yeah.
And then still move it.
Focus on the real star.
But still also move it forward in a way that has actual consequences. Like 3 major Avenger deaths in this movie.
Yeah.
Well, 1.5. I mean, Captain America doesn't technically die, but he's old and can't do anything.
Basically dead.
He's basically dead.
So the other thing about that though is there were, the thing that was great about Infinity War is there were consequences.
Yeah.
So what were the consequences going to be? Because you know they had to bring those people back.
They had to be at least the same amount.
That's why Infinity War's better.
Yeah.
Well, but see, you're discrediting Endgame because they had to bring them back. It's comic books. They've been around for they did.
But you knew going into it they were coming back. But this one,
what they did, and they're owning is the consequences. That okay, all right, well, we have to bring everybody back, but let's take 5 years from them and not give it back.
Yeah.
And there are consequences to that.
Yeah.
And it's rippling through the other movies, and it's going to continue to ripple through the other movies.
and I hope it does really ripple. Like, it's a plot point in Spider-Man Far From Home, but it's not.
Spider-Man is barely in the MCU to me.
Yeah, in Far From Home, it's kind of like very cursory, like, yeah, you guys missed 5 years. Yeah. Okay, now let's do the movie. And I don't know if the other movies will also pay off the same way. That's the thing that Endgame does at the end, because it really does close off this chapter of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is that whatever comes after, no matter the quality of the movies, it's still, how can Marvel follow this up?
That's why I said the other day, I wish I kind of, like, I'm not with Zach on this because he's a dumbass, but there is part of me that would just love to see him close it and just make it's like perfect.
Make a new, you're
done.
Close it.
You finished the story, you guys.
Close
you did
it.
You actually nailed the ending.
Yeah.
Do a Star Wars. Close it. Step away from it for 10 years.
Yes.
Then come back and let's revisit and do something new.
Absolutely.
And
that's what I
can
would
get
love.
why
But they won't do it.
They won't do that, and I get why. But I thought the fact that it nailed the landing,
They did
on.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, on what would be like ridiculously impossible. We had another franchise that tried. We had 2 franchises this year, long-running, year-long franchises in both with Star Wars and also Game of Thrones, that hugely popular with their fan bases and with mainstream fan. Yeah, that's just botched.
Yeah,
and when they got to the finish line, like Game of Thrones botched earlier. I mean, Star Wars like botched too. But they just couldn't pull it off. But Avengers, with 10 years, with less lead time, because arguably Game of Thrones was newer than Avengers, but the book came out in like 96, the first one. But still, 22 movies at a wrap up with so many different stars. But this one kept the cast small for the most part. It kept it focused, character focused. It was great. I just love it. I just love it.
And to the point, Infinity War was the first time I was expecting. I was like, okay, how are they going to incorporate all these different strong characters? Because they're strong superheroes. Each individually had good background build up to it. Endgame heightened it even more, especially when you got to the end, that final battle sequence, and you
cannot tell me you did not feel heart palpitations when you hear Sam come in and be like, Cap, on the left, and then everybody
came out, and then that whole battle sequence, then you get all the female superheroes at that one moment, and it was just like, bam.
You don't have a heart. It's okay.
I was so drawn into that final sequence of events that I felt myself tearing up with joy.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like,
he finally said assemble.
Yeah, he finally said it.
And some of us have been waiting for that for their whole lives.
You got it in Avengers 2.
No,
we didn't.
You got...
Captain America being able to wield Thor's hammer.
Which was something that comic book fans have known was a thing. We just didn't know if we would get to see it.
And we did.
I have to say, my favorite scene... Well, one of my favorite scenes.
America's ass. We know it was America's ass.
America's ass.
Is the elevator scene.
Oh, that
is the best way to tie in one of the worst Captain America plot lines that has happened recently. Is that whole Hail Hydra shit.
I think the
plot like Winter Soldier.
I love. I'm talking about when comics.
Well, no. I think it's not the plot line. It's the fan base around Hail Hydra. How that just became a thing.
Yeah.
Except for my boss won't let me live down the fact that I was supposed to say Hail Hydra for headbands, but I said Hail Satan instead.
But that's great. But no, I don't think it could have been done without this team. Like the fact that you had Feige overseeing everything. You had the Russos who had already done several other Marvel, including Winter Soldier, other Marvel movies.
Winter Soldier to me is one of the best.
I think Winter Soldier is probably technically the best movie in the whole franchise. But no, that's the victory lap. That's going around every very key points of the history of this whole franchise and say, hey, let's enjoy this because these characters are going to say goodbye. And I love that elevator scene. It was great.
This is a nice closing chapter for Iron Man, for Black Widow. Well, for
the Black Widow one doesn't count, and
that's where I would.
I was upset that Black Widow's death lasted maybe 5 minutes.
Her death didn't feel like a death.
Yeah.
Somebody who was watching it and just went, "Oh, she's coming back," and she did, and I was like, "Oh, she's not."
That's actually it's small things like that probably keep it from number one, and also number one super good.
Yeah, the fact that for Tony's funeral they do this whole beautiful wreath thing. They didn't even think to do anything for Natasha.
Yeah.
Not even just a little here's.
There are small things.
Who cares about Black Widow? Nobody cares.
She's getting her own movie.
Yeah.
Somebody must care.
Good. Now I can care about her. She's dead.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was so glad they nailed it. My expectations were so high and low all over the place because it's like this could bomb.
You were scared that they were going to let you down.
I was scared it was going to be let down, and I was not let down.
We've had the foot put in our buses so much over Star Wars.
Steven's new favorite word.
It is. It's my new favorite word.
And then we watched Rise of Skywalker later this year, and I'm like, Avengers did this better. And here are all the ways.
Exactly.
All right.
So that was number 2 for all 3.
Are you guys done?
You guys have more commentary? It is in your number 2s.
The de-aging, we watched it again here recently. The de-aging for...
There was de-aging in the movie?
Hank Pym.
Oh, yeah. Michael Douglas.
Yes. Was it near as bad the second time around?
I never had a problem with his de-aging.
I was fine with it. Yeah.
So,
as far as that de-aging stuff
because
goes.
they also did it smart because they did not show him a lot.
Yeah, they didn't focus too much on his face to try and be like, look, he's younger.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Well, and the thing is none of the Marvel movies have been known for their outstanding realism and special effects. Yeah.
But
it's a shame. It's a missed
opportunity. The Thor character was Everything for me too.
The Thor character is the only negative for the movie for me.
Why?
Because Thor got disrespected. Thor is the god of thunder. Don't make him a buffoon. Don't make him the best rendition of Thor that has been in the movies, all of them, period, is Infinity War. That is Thor.
Yes.
I will still agree with that.
Thor was funny.
Also,
he was emotional, and he was powerful. All in one movie. In this movie, he was there for the jokes.
He was the dude.
He was the jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't mind that he was in the state he was in the beginning of the movie. I just wish he snapped out of it earlier.
Yes.
The thing that almost took me out of it was the Hulk. The mashup of Banner and the Hulk being one.
I have a bigger problem with that than I did Thor. I never liked Professor Hulk. I never liked Smart Hulk.
No, but that Smart Hulk has been a thing that's been in and out of comics.
Yeah, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
Because it takes away the interesting aspect of the Hulk.
I mean, he did dab. He dabbed.
He did.
He did.
All right.
All right, Nathan, you got any other comments? It is your number 2.
Nope.
Okay. Zach, number 2.
My number 2. Again, this is one of the big boys.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
It's probably your number 1.
There we go.
One Cut of the Dead.
Also, my number 2.
Oh, thank God for number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2.
One Cut of the Dead.
Real talk. Who here has not seen it?
Nope, I have not seen it.
Oh, God.
Okay, so we can't talk about
I
this
have
film.
offered my Shutter login to everyone to
can't
watch
talk
it.
about
I
this
have
film.
my own Shutter login. I just
We cannot
Forget that I
talk
have
about it unless people see it.
Yeah, that's one, like, I know we're spoiling, but it's just so...
I'm drawing a line in the sand,
It's
man.
so special. That movie is so special.
Don't talk about it.
You just can't discuss it except to say it's
Really good.
Never
to be in your
before
number
have I seen...
near perfect.
Never
There
before
is
have I seen a movie to where in the first act I'm going, I don't know, this is over. Well, I don't really get... And then the third act go, forget
holy
everything I
shit!
said.
Holy shit!
Everything I said, this is amazing.
There's 10-15 minutes in the middle that's a little bit
that's just a little bit
draggy.
So since we can't talk about it, that's good because we're at 2 hours. And
So we're doing
40
number
minutes.
ones.
Let's do number 1.
I mean, you guys are done. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
The point is,
go see the movie.
So
One Cut of the Dead.
Oh my
Please,
God.
just pay for 1 month of Shudder. It's worth it. I
All
swear
right.
to God.
it was almost my number
I
one.
can't find the Blu-ray.
Okay.
We are looking for it. Yeah,
Number 1.
number one.
Number 1.
Number one.
Parasite.
All right.
That's a good one.
I
That's
fair.
a really good
That's
one.
fair.
really was blown away
Was it
with
not
how
on your
much
list?
I like this
We
movie.
might get back to that.
I really.
It's my number 1.
They just say it.
I was really blown away with how much
hype up to my number 1.
I loved this movie.
I also really love this movie.
Everybody. Did you see it, Nathan?
Nope.
Oh, man.
Dude, please.
I know you don't like reading, but it's worth it.
I know.
So
I'm telling you, this movie.
Well, hang on. It's his. It's
Yeah,
his
yeah,
floor.
My
He's got the
favorite
floor.
review.
Hang on. He's got the floor.
It's
he's got the floor.
Sir.
And that's
yeah, when it's your turn.
Yeah, when it's your. When it's your yeah. We'll be the
Well, that was your one thing. It's done.
There you go.
So-
My thing.
Continue.
So I love how well this movie doesn't telegraph what it is. Even the trailers, like this, the marketing gives it nothing away with what kind of movie this is. You go into this movie, I first thought it was going to be a thriller, and it's funny. It's endearing. Like I'm enjoying these characters. We're having fun. It's light, and then it just slowly and subtly starts going down a darker path. Before you know it, shit hits the fan, and you people are getting hurt and stuff, and it's like, holy crap, when did this happen? But it's so seamless, it's smooth and good.
Mission Impossible feel. It has,
Which is so
comedy
weird.
feel,
It does.
It has a thriller. It has a horrible psychological mess up feel.
But throughout all of that, the core is this compare contrast of class difference between this destitute family
It's
living in the
beautifully done
basement.
without being preachy.
It's
Yeah.
not preachy at all, but you get the message clearly about how these families are very different, but it also have the similarities. It's not telling you this one's good, this one's bad, or it's not good that these people aren't doing better or aren't helping these other people
It's
more.
not this person's fault that they're destitute.
You know what best scene of that is for me? When the flood happens, you see the couple in their nice house staring out and they're talking about how beautiful the rain
their
is.
camping
Yeah.
trip got ruined. What a
It's
shame.
but they're like the rain's beautiful, whatever, and then cut to the other family whose home
losing everything.
is flooded.
It's flooded.
Losing everything.
Yeah, because they live underground essentially.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I loved about the movie is it stayed true to the
So this is
the
this
way of
this is
life.
not your number one, is it?
So in you made me lose my train of thought. Apartment. Okay. No, they actually do. Like if you look at the way people live over there, they do. They live in those sub basements that are not up to code, not up to health inspections or anything like that. They're literally living like that. And then you have the rich bitch next door who is sitting there in her glass palace being like, oh no, we don't eat that kind of food.
That house, by the way,
Fuck you.
it's
That
a
house
cool house.
is
That house is
cool.
amazing.
Even the symbolism of like, okay, so you have spoilers for Parasite. Nathan, close your ears. You have the symbolism of like the rich people living on the hill. You have the family living half underground, half above ground, but there's always still you can go lower
Yeah.
to the guy that is living completely below
Yeah.
Yeah.
ground. I mean, and that's essentially what happens to the father is he falls
Distance
even
deeper,
lower.
yeah.
Yeah. He reaches for the sun and falls underground.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's the symbolism like that. You even said like all those journals. What if those are each of her boyfriends? And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god, you know.
That's just a different layer that you
my
can think about.
favorite
Yeah.
review of this movie online I read was my expectations were high, but holy fuck. I mean,
Yeah.
this
My
movie,
expectations changed every 5 minutes in this movie.
it really
Yeah.
is the one movie this year where, again, it's like we're so into film we can never, just sit back and enjoy it. This is the one film I'm like, I'm just gonna sit back. I don't know where the hell this is going.
Yeah, I'm in for the
This is
ride.
incredible.
I mean, at one point we thought that the former staff was going to come in and have their revenge, but that's
Exactly.
not how that went at all.
That's not how it
Yeah.
went. Yeah. So it's funny. I was thinking about this when I was putting together my list. Is I love films that have really good social commentary, and good social commentary to me is social commentary you get through osmosis and not through preaching.
Yeah.
And the two best examples of really good stories that also had amazing social commentary were The Farewell and Parasite this year.
Yeah.
Parasite is just
Both of them had amazing. They gave you the feeling of a place you may not be familiar with, but you were invested right away.
And it's also like one of the ones that I just keep coming back to thinking about it because I like when I came out of the movie. Ever since we came out of the movie, I just keep thinking back about how good that film was.
like I said. I knew Nico put it on as number one, so
All right,
So,
I chose a different one.
Nathan.
My number one is Godzilla. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Kidding.
Oh God.
Kidding. My number one was Ready or Not.
Okay.
I will tell you.
Half a minute there, I'm like, I'll walk out this
I
bitch.
was waiting for it. So my number one is Ready or Not. We've touched on it a little bit here, but
If you knock that mic over
I'm
again,
sorry. Jesus.
I've absolutely loved this film. I walked into it expecting it to be some like horror movie, hide and seek, blah blah blah. But it was so,
And it was that.
But it was so much more entertaining and. Like you were talking about making deals with the devil, that story and stuff. I don't know the full story, but I get the concept of it. And when you sit there and you watch this character who, in retrospect, you look back, you look at every other character, she's the only person that came into this family who really, truly had a good soul.
Yeah.
Like a good
She had no
heart.
business
Whereas,
getting
like,
into
the
this family.
alcoholic brother's wife and then the sister's husband were just horrible, stupid people.
Yeah.
And
boy, when that old lady picked up the axe, though,
I fell in love with the grandmother at the
Go,
first
Grandma.
time that she appeared, where
Yeah,
she just like
she's
giving
scowling.
the guy.
was she the grandmother or the aunt? She's the aunt.
Aunt. Yeah,
She was-
she's-
Aunt.
She was a
she's
great
the
aunt or
She's a
something.
great aunt. She was the woman
old
who
lady.
lost her. She's the only one who lost her
Husband.
love of her life,
Yeah.
and then she stepped up into this role. Blah blah blah. But I was kept guessing every time. I was like, "Oh crap, she is gonna escape, right? She's gonna escape. Like, oh great, she's gonna escape. They're gonna lose." Da da da. And she gets drugged back in, and then to see her fiance husband, who is now husband, turn like that, and then to see him cower.
that
at
was
the
my
end.
favorite part of the movie. Is he didn't follow the traditional trajectory that I would have
Yeah.
expected for this kind of movie. you know, to be like the hero and help her or whatever.
Yeah.
That wasn't it at all. She had to do it on her own.
Yeah.
The real like knight, if there is one in this story, is the brother, and he gets his comeuppance not by exploding, but by the death of his family.
Well, and you know what's funny? He was killed not by her, but by his wife, and then I felt like that was the catalyst of his brother's death is what switched the good brother, and he took it out on his wife, who had nothing to do really with it.
I think
Man,
that
the
was
waitstaff
start of
struggles
the turn.
there.
I think the final nail in the coffin was the mom's death.
No, that conversation between the mom and him while he was tied up, I thought that was like the turning point. Like, she planted the seed. We need you to step back into this.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, the final nail in the coffin.
The final nail in the hand.
Yeah, seeing the mom dead.
Yeah.
But I loved at the end, too, when they were like, fuck, we've done all this for what? And then all of a sudden they start blowing up left and right.
You have that fake
That
out.
fake out was so
had
smart.
Nothing to worry about. They're just murdering psychopaths who are superstitious as fuck.
And then
they were right.
I didn't mean it. We can live. Please don't leave me. And then she goes, I want a divorce. As soon as she pulls that ring off, boom. And that was hilarious. And then she's sitting out on the porch. Fire truck is coming. Cigarette. And lost.
It's such a good ending.
Fun fact about that movie: the original ending was her getting killed.
I would have been upset with that.
I would like to see that ending.
I think I would like to see that
the
ending.
one we got. And
Well, I like that they do multiple endings.
Fascinating to see her actually get killed, and what happens.
See how that would play.
How they do it, how they kill her.
Yeah.
I think it would be such a bummer of an ending.
Yeah, I don't think it would work well.
And normally I'm for that kind of dark ending, but this movie wasn't that kind of movie. To
No.
me. She deserved to win.
She went through
As
all
she
that.
fought her ass off.
Hide and Go Seek was my favorite game as a kid. I still will play it as an adult.
Good to know.
Yes, like I will play that if we're somewhere out in a like cornfield or something. Let's go hide. I don't know.
What are you talking about? We hide on each other in this house all the time.
That's true.
Not on purpose.
All right, Tina.
So my number one is The Dead Don't Die. So Adam Driver and
3 seconds.
Adam Driver and Bill Murray, I think play really well.
No! You're serious.
And I love Tilda Swinton.
Oh my god, this is like Black Hat. This is like Black Hat. This is a horrible movie.
Fuck this shit.
I've heard such terrible things about this movie. It's your number one?
And my number one was actually Parasite.
Oh my god.
Well, I know this is exactly the room.
Please stop. This movie was horrible.
Wait, are you joking? I need to hear.
Yeah.
My number one was Parasite.
That's why you got so pissed off. You almost spoiled your own joke.
She told me she was going to do that, and I thought she was going to lose. I thought she was going to give up on that, but she told us.
Points for waiting the longer.
Check out my article.
I didn't know.
Worst stuff.
I didn't know how long you were going to go into that.
I was waiting
The Dead Don't Die
until he
so
walked
bad.
so
You know, the funny thing is, you both did what I think are the worst movies of the year.
That's
Although I do love Godzilla.
That movie was so bad, but Dead Don't Die is the worst movie of the year.
Oh
So
my god,
awful.
it's
I haven't
so
even
bad.
seen
It
it.
is so
Don't
awful.
waste your time because I will never get that time back.
No,
Yeah.
you know how I knew not to watch it was when even Dwayne said it was bad.
Yeah.
And that guy
Oh.
likes everything.
Yep.
And he was like, "No, this movie's kind of terrible." I'm like,
I gotta give you props, Tina. You stuck with it.
I committed.
You committed.
I had
Zach got
talking
down the
points.
stairs.
I had
He
talking
was
points
down.
that I was going to commit
He
to.
was out the door.
I was about to
I need a shot.
aliens.
how does it
I
feel
need
to
a
be
shot.
triggered 3 times
I just got
That one
something.
got
with
me
the
because she
ultimate
kept
one?
Going.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, no, please tell me you're joking. And then she kept going. It's like, this is for real. This is
That-
an actual nightmare.
Spectacular.
Black Panther all over us.
Spectacular.
Oh man.
All right, so did you have any other add-ons to Parasite after the conversation?
Parasite.
We're gonna go right back into it anyway.
Yeah.
Parasite for me is one of those movies I will never get tired of watching it.
Yep.
It's one I want to show people.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the rewatchability thing. I want to share.
Yes.
Please.
Please. There's one scene
It's
that
in Korean, but
endears me
There's
to.
2 lines of English.
There's one scene that endears me to 2 characters. It's when the brother and the sister are outside and they're trying to get their story straight on how they're going to con these people. And they sing that little song to remember it.
I love that.
And
I love that.
It's in the trailer. It's in one of the trailers. And that trailer is a piece of art by its own. Because that trailer sets
spoiled
up...
nothing.
Yeah. It sets up what you think is going to be the story, but you have no idea how any of those scenes play out because you don't get the context.
Oh!
And it's amazing!
You know what else? Maybe this is the year. This is the year of the awkward sex scene. Because Booksmart and also Parasite.
Yes. Parasite has, I think, probably one of the most realistic...
But it's real.
I'm trying to get the girl in the mood.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't try and like sweet talk. He doesn't start kissing her neck.
I'm just going to rub the titties.
Straight from the nipple.
I'm just going to rub them titties.
And she's just like, really? We doing this? And he's like, come on. We haven't done it. And she's like, oh, fine, okay. But then it goes really awkward with that weird sex talk about poker panties and whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's super weird.
And one of the things I love about
poker panties.
You got to see it.
Yeah.
Got to see it.
Yeah.
You don't know who to feel bad for in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, you root for everybody and feel bad for everybody.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
And I love that.
It's the exact opposite of Hereditary. I like everybody in this movie.
Yeah. There's nobody it's like it's real because people have their negative and positive.
Yeah.
Yes, they're real people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Zach.
All right, so Zach's number one was
Parasite.
Also Parasite.
It was good. Please. See it?
Yep.
But in fact, during this time where I would normally talk about my number one, I have my worst of list I can go over very quickly. Very quickly.
I think we just actually went over most of it.
Okay. Yeah.
So real quick, Knife+Heart.
Nope.
I hated it.
Terrible.
Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Loved it.
Terrible.
Loved it.
This movie tries to legitimize human mass extinction is preferable than climate change. For real.
Yeah.
The dead don't die. Rambo Last Blood.
Oh.
What a waste of time.
God, it was so bad.
Also,
and I love Rambo.
My meaningless awards: Best Sound Mixing Climax, Best Sound Design, 1917, specifically.
We are doing the Oscars.
All right.
So come on.
Best
number one.
Best of technology.
We're going on 3 hours.
All right, yeah. All right, so my number one will be controversial to only one person here, and not surprising to everybody else, is Avengers Endgame.
Really?
Yep.
Really?
And I'm going to tell you why. I struggled with it a lot, and because one cut was right there, and it's because what are the two things I told you in the beginning are crucial to me as far as being something on my list?
Watchability,
rewatchability,
and something you've never.
It is the one movie I've watched multiple times.
Because part of it's Disney Plus and it's sitting right there. I've watched all or parts of it over and over again.
Or if you have the issues like we do with buffering, you just buy the physical media.
Which I did too.
How many times have you seen Endgame?
So many times.
We've watched it together.
5 times.
Yeah,
Steven and I have watched it together 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, it's on here all the time.
So it's rewatchability
and
something you've never seen before.
Innovation. This is it. I've said this about this franchise from the beginning. It is history happening right now. 50 years from now, film students will study what was done with the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I will say that Avengers, the first Avengers, is the most important movie of the decade.
Easily.
And it is the franchise that has started everyone to stick to the end of credits almost every...
It's the most significant movie of the decade.
This ends the franchise that has changed the way we watch movies and what we expect from movies.
Yep.
And those are the two main reasons, Thor notwithstanding, because I hated what they did with him, that this is number one, because I've never seen this in my lifetime and probably won't ever see this level of impact on cinema again. That's why it's number one.
Well, it's even making me more excited for the next Guardians
It's
movie.
making me less excited because I don't think they can do it a second time.
No.
It won't be the same. And that's something that we're going to have to come with to terms with.
Yeah.
But I don't think they'll do another one like that.
Because they can't.
I think they'll just keep to individual stories.
You can't replicate. Yeah, I
don't
think
they're going to do another phase. It's going to be phase 4, and everything's going to lead up to a climactic ending. But that's their formula. But the formula has been done now.
But they have to do something different. And I think it is getting away from Avengers. Because doing I mean, you can't. It's like I said.
Yeah.
Where do you go from here? And,
Yeah.
you can't do this again. You can't do the last decade of the MCU again.
You know, and it's funny because I look at what Scorsese says about it being more of a roller coaster than cinema, and I agree with him. But at the same time, what this movie is the culmination of is going to impact every type and style of franchise from here forward.
Yeah.
You know, everyone
Better or worse?
for better, or it could be the Scream effect and be worse. Because everybody tried to do Scream after that movie came out and it didn't work.
James Bond is trying it.
Well,
James Bond is making things, yeah. So, and that's my point: is what movie on anybody's list, any of our lists, has had that much impact on cinema?
One cut.
Nope.
Nope.
But let me ask you
Yeah.
this: if we never had that Marvel ending, that climactic, amazing ending, do you think people would look at Star Wars different?
No, because it's still not good.
Yeah.
It's still not good.
Yeah, Star Wars has.
Yeah.
But it
Shitload of
does show more of a delight.
Well,
But still.
I think what would happen is if the ending, if they didn't stick the landing, people would look at it as a cinematic tragedy. You know, Marvel tried to do something and it just failed at the end.
But arguably,
it end up being another Game of Thrones because it's like, what's the point taking the journey if the ending is so good?
But actually, arguably, I mean, if you want to go real deep into this, if we didn't have Marvel Cinematic Universe, we might not have Disney Star Wars.
Yeah, no, 100%. You're
because
accurate.
that push was after Disney bought Marvel, and the Disney strategy for Star Wars is very much the Marvel studio strategy without a competent vision, overarching vision.
Right.
Writing stuff.
But remember, I told you guys when I saw Endgame for the first time, I got emotional at the end, and not just because of we lost this character or that character, but because it was my realization of what we had all participated in as a group, and it's done.
Oh, I just remember walking out of that when we saw it together, and walking out of that, and you and I walking to the car. There was a moment of we just had solitude. That was we just silence. We took ourselves a moment of silence to process because we were super hyped up.
Yeah, it was
there
super good.
The downbeat of just did we just witness this? Did this just
it's
happen?
history.
It's special.
You witnessed history.
It means something. Yeah. And then we got in the car and Nathan farted so bad I thought it's just 100% accurate.
It built up so much emotion that it was just
he let it out in gas.
All right.
So
that's it. That's number one.
Top tens.
So does anybody have honorable mentions that they would like to share that just didn't make?
No, because we're almost at 3 hours.
Well, you can say them. I would just say it and move on.
Yeah, I have some honorable mentions as soon as this thing loads.
All right, my honorable mention: Child's Play.
Yeah.
I like Child's Play.
Child's Play is also one of my honorable mentions.
It Chapter 2, which wasn't on my list. There's one more that I was really close to putting on my list. Where is it?
One of my
Ad Astra. I almost had on my list.
I loved that movie. I'm glad someone had that as a honorable mention. I think it's really good.
One of my honorable mentions, just because of how it treated itself in its previous movies, and I've slowly started my decline of liking Kevin Smith, but Jam Silent Bob reboot.
Really? That's an honorable mention for you in their top 10? I heard terrible things.
I enjoyed it because, watching Dogma, watching Mallrats, watching Clerks, it brought it all back together and made fun of the worst parts of itself. So.
Okay.
Zach?
Real quickly, this is 15/11/1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Lighthouse, Ready or Not, and The Farewell. I would just like to say it is a reoccurring trend with the last year of the decade being just a knockout year. In 1999, we got The Matrix, Fight Club, Eyes Wide Shut. 2009, you got Inglourious Basterds, District 9, Hurt Locker, and now with this year, it's almost like every
every 10 years you have
you got that director that's I need to get this out before the next decade.
Yeah.
I got this in my system, I need to get out. And what's fascinating is the leftover years.
Yeah.
To 2010, you get the leftover that they didn't get it in.
Yeah.
In 2019. So I'm expecting this year.
Honorable mention: Lighthouse can suck a dick.
Lighthouse can suck a dick. I agree with you.
Hark, Triton, hark!
It's true.
Bellow, beware!
This year was so good was such a great year for film.
Yep.
That I just don't. 2020 is not looking so far that good.
No.
But a lot of
we're in fuck you. It's January.
well, but to be fair, a lot of the things that we all like the best, like Parasite, The Farewell,
Later.
Midsommar, we also didn't hear about this much in advance.
Until
So
like
I'm
3
hoping
months
that
before, 2
means
months before.
stuff is coming that we're not expecting. But my honorable mention list has Hail Satan. Also has Ask Dr. Ruth, which is a great documentary if you haven't seen it. Dr. Sleep is in there. Booksmart is in there, and there's a movie called Marine, which is I didn't get to focus on any of my documentaries. Marine is about the first all-female sailing team to sail for the Stanley
I've
Cup.
heard about that.
It's not Stanley Cup. What is it called? The thing that
Yeah.
What service was that on?
I saw it at Belcourt,
Okay.
but I think it's
the
on
theater
Hulu.
service.
I think it's on Hulu.
Okay.
But it's super interesting. I think everybody should see
That's
it.
something Matt and I would watch.
Yeah, you should get him to watch that and watch it over here. I'll watch it again because it's very good. And all these movies were just so close on my list, but it was such a strong year. It was difficult.
It was like really great, and not would be on my also ran. Lighthouse, I appreciated a lot of things in it, but it just doesn't come together well, which is why I would have put it on my also ran, but not on my main list. And there were. It was a strong year. It was a really good
I
year of
was
movies.
really proud of my list because usually I come in, I'm like, oh, they're gonna harp on me, they're gonna do this. Blah,
No,
blah, blah.
this was
Everyone was like, "I didn't see that one. I'm going to write
this
that one
was
down."
your best list since you've been doing
Yeah, I
it.
know.
Yeah, it was.
I actually really put thought into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of my actual honorable mentions: Ford versus Ferrari. I don't even like racing.
I enjoyed that
And
film.
I thought that was a very well done film.
I agree.
Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood for the simple fact, like I hated a lot of the story wise, but the simple fact Tom Hanks did amazing.
So I rushed out to see that the other day,
Yeah.
and
He
I
did
loved.
amazing as Mr. Rogers.
He was amazing, but there's so much time in that movie where he's not
Yeah.
on screen. That's why it got pushed out for me.
Yeah.
Because I got
Which
bored.
is
It
why
felt like a
it's-
Lifetime movie when he wasn't there.
Like I said, especially with my relationship with my dad personally, I hated the message behind it,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't go without saying Tom Hanks nailed every aspect of Mr. Rogers.
Killed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other honorable mentions people want
I
to
think
mention before we
I think
go?
we're good to wrap it.
All right, let's find out where we can find you fools on the internet.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram under Nico Scream, NIKOSCREAM, mostly talking about Dungeons and Dragons and comics.
Nice.
Nathan?
Instagram, Nate_R_70. Facebook, just my name, Nathan Sfino. And yeah, find me in the skies, maybe serving you a Coke and some nuts.
Maybe watching a movie in the background.
Yeah.
Right?
You can find me Instagram, Cheddar Popper, CHEDR.
I added you.
POPPR. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Also Twitter, same name. I'm doing a reading challenge and a 100 movies a year challenge. I'll be reviewing.
Pushing 100.
Mm-hmm.
I will be reviewing each and every one of the books and movies that I see.
You can find me. I am on Instagram. I am Master of the Matrix 71, and you can find me on Steam as well as Twitch. Whenever I decide to stream, I am a dangerous meat lunatic. I'm trying to get through Cuphead, but the dragon is a fucking dickhead. so
Yeah, that looks really hard to me.
it's so hard.
Yeah.
Circumcised or uncircumcised?
He's uncircumcised.
Oh, God.
Just when you think you got the circumcision done, guess what? There's 3 heads on it now.
Oh.
Suddenly.
No, great.
I think he needs to get that checked by a doctor.
I agree. So you can find me at All Things Culture Smash. I am also doing Pushing 100. I'm doing Pushing 100, I guess, according to Zach, #hard mode, because it's only theatrical releases, only new releases for me. That is it.
All right.
2 a week.
I think I have to average 2 a week.
Yeah, because there are 52 weeks a year.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to be difficult for me because I'm going to go... Like, I'm doing this to myself in the year where I'm having foot surgery and going to be down for a month. So, yeah. So, but I'll, a lot of times with the
Spend
real
a Saturday
unlimited...
or a Sunday
And
at
go
the
do
theater.
4 movies in
Yeah.
a day. I've done that a lot of times. So I'll make it up. It won't be bad.
Just ask if you could, like,
I think
rent
we're
a
gonna start
room
this
and
week
stay overnight.
with
Exactly.
Underwater.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to see Underwater this weekend. I saw Queen and Slim today. I've already started looking at the list. I'm going to have to see some terrible movies.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching. Basically,
I'm going to see
doing
The Boss.
reading and movies to save money because I already have the Regal Unlimited.
Yeah.
I have a library card. That way, I can save up for a wedding.
Perfect. So if you want to see my progress, follow me on Letterboxd. Under Culture,
Letterboxd?
yeah, Letterboxd
Oh,
with no e. Letterboxd.
I thought you were saying litter box. Like, what
Well, there's 2 litter
Well,
boxes out here. If
yeah,
you need to make a
that's-
stop on the
that's
way.
for following his cats.
It's covered. But yeah, I'll be posting every and like I always do, I'll post every movie that I go see. So,
All right.
I guess that'll do it. We'll see everybody next week.
Bye,
Bye, everybody. And like.